Alright guys, welcome to Tabletop Assault. I am David and I'm going to be your host today for this sort of podcast where we're actually going to be looking at the new 9th edition Grey Knight Codex. I wanted to personally do this, guys, as a live stream for obvious reasons, me being a massive Grey Knight player. I wanted to kind of do this interactively, but more importantly I wanted to talk to you guys as we go through this. I wanted to just basically get your thoughts and share the love or the hate, I guess, for this codex. I will also just point out, simultaneously at the moment, there is also our video premiering for Thousand Suns Codex at the very same time that we're doing this today. It's still on our channel. That should be going live now, I guess. It's not a live podcast like this one, but it is got a live chat where Ross is going to be sitting in that chat answering any questions you guys have about Thousand Suns Codex. So I would just recommend, guys, if you're interested in Thousand Suns one as well, then boom, jump on over to the Thousand Suns podcast, and Ross will be able to have a chat to you there. Just a couple of house rules, guys. Try and keep the comment section PC. Obviously, we don't want any, negative comments or like abuse. Be all nice to each other. We're all here to have a bit of fun today. Additionally, there'll be a replay of this up later on today, so if you have any comments or questions which we didn't quite answer in this podcast, or you didn't get a chance to actually ask us, put it in the comment section. I'll be doing my utmost to absolutely basically get those answers as quick as I possibly can. And any questions you have about this codex as we take a run through it, put it in this chat section if you're live with us, and again, I'll do my best to get to those answers. I see quite a few questions already coming in. Some people asking about servitors, which I find kind of mind-blowing, but that's absolutely fine. We're here to talk about Grey Knight's Codex, and servitors are part of the Codex. So, right, okay, let's have a look. Oh, is my audio reverberating? That's not good. Let me take a wee look at the audio. If that's cleared up the audio, guys, let me know. I hope it has. So yeah, let's take a wee look, guys, at the codex itself, I guess. So first and foremost, I just want to let you know this is quite chunky. Really enjoyed having a read through this codex. A lot of cool units. I've had some changes, some that you already have had the luxury of finding out. And a lot of cool new things like stratagems, warlord traits, just a fun new ways to play Grey Knights. I will just say overall, I'm very pleased with this codex. I'm not going to say it's a top tier codex where you're getting, the most meta armies, but there's certainly ways to achieve that. So in the Grey Knight Codex, let's start off with having a nice little look at this lovely new smelling book. I'm not going to go over the load of it, guys. I'm going to actually just focus on some of the rules today, because that's what you're all here for at the end of the day, guys, is the rules. I'm trying to get the chat back up so I can see your comments. Oh yes, guys, the book is beautiful. Let me see if I can get their chat up live on this as well, just so I don't need to kind of worry about it all. There we go. That's the chat up, so you can all see what all you lovely people are saying to me. Right, okay, so a couple of people already heading for a solid B tier. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think they will be a solid B tier. I don't think they're going to be top army, but they're certainly going to be up there with some of the armies that they can kick about psychic phase wise. So we're going to cover a couple of sections today. We're obviously going to cover Battleforge rules, army rules, match play rules. We're going to not touch on the Crusade rules, guys, if you don't mind. Just mainly because it's not something we play on the channel, so I wouldn't want to sit and give you expert knowledge about a section in the book that I'm not actually too familiar with. Data sheets, war gear, points we'll briefly touch on. We know there's always a contentious with Games Workshop not liking us talking about points. Well, we'll touch on some of the key things that you need to know. And then, yeah, we'll just sort of wrap it up with some of our overall sort of thoughts. So guys, into the detachment rules. Now, the detachment rules is actually something quite nice. We've kind of touched on this in Warhammer community. Your Battleforged Grey Knight armies are going to get the Brotherhood command and the Aegis abilities, and obviously all your Grey Knight troops are still going to get OBSEC, so that's something we knew was coming. Brotherhood command is obviously only have one Grand Master and one Brotherhood captain in each detachment, and each Grand Master must be from each Grand Master in your army must be from a different Brotherhood, and each Brotherhood captain must be from a different Brotherhood. The Aegis is pretty cool. I actually really like this, especially with Mortal Wound spamming in this current edition. The Aegis basically allows you to ignore not mortal wounds from Psychic, all mortal wounds you suffer on a 5+. So really great protection against mortal wound spamming. I'm looking at demons. I'm looking at Thousand Suns actually. If a Psyker is in your unit, you also add 1 to the deny the witch rolls. Yeah, I wish they would have had +1 to deny and +1 to cast. Maybe I'm being a bit greedy as a biased Grey Knight player, but hey, +1 to your denies is pretty good. Natural because we are a sort of anti-demon warp army. Brotherhood of Psykers rule, basically it essentially dictates with how you're casting your psychic powers, which we already knew. Additionally, as well, Warlord traits are impacted and certain stratagems are impacted because they need to have certain keywords, which we'll come on to, like your actual Brotherhoods like Ward Makers and things like that. But not much change about how you're choosing a model in your unit to cast. Not much more. Yeah, Harry Wang, no more +1 to cast. It's gone, but we've got ignoring wounds and a 5+. Let me know if you think that's better or worse. Now, this is the meat and bones that we need to talk about today, the Brotherhoods. Now, the Brotherhoods, I'm just going to say this, they're basically taking a trick out of the Thousand Suns Codex. And what I mean by that is the Thousand Suns Codex... Oh, my webcam seems to have actually frozen. I will reset that. There we go. That's us back. Yeah, the Brotherhoods is taking a trick out of the cults section of the Thousand Suns Codex, which... some people might think they're stealing. I think it's good. It's going to add a lot more flavour. And Ross is invading my chat, letting us know that Thousand Suns have +1 cast. Ross, scout the chat. Focus on your own video today. So Sword Bearers. Let's take a wee closer look. So Sword Bearers would be one of your Brotherhood keywords. And essentially, Sword Bearers have their own stratagem, their own psychic power, and their own warlord trait. And that is unique across all the Brotherhoods. They have one unique thing to each of their traits. So Sword Bearers, their stratagem, let's just have a quick run through of it. Use the stratagem at the start of your shooting phase. Select one enemy unit within 12 inches of the visible that's visible to the Sword Bearer Psyker unit from your army until the end of the phase. Each time a friendly Sword Bearer unit makes a ranged attack against that unit, add 1 to the attack's hit rolls. I'm already looking at Purgation Squad, and I'm already thinking, cool, let's have a good chat with that. Anything to +1 to hit and +1 to wound, you'll see is a theme throughout this codex. We have a lot of access to modify our rolls. Psychic Power Empiric Lodestone, which is a malediction. It's Warp Charge 7. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker until the start of the next psychic phase. Each time a friendly Swordbearer vehicle unit makes a ranged attack against an enemy unit, add 1 to the attack's wound rolls. A unit can only be selected for this psychic power once per phase. Well, we all know which vehicle in your army you're going to put that on. It's called a certain Dread Knight. And you're going to see later on, Dread Knights are certainly going to become a thing in this codex, that's for sure. Warlord traits. So Warlord trait for Sword Bearers, Rights of Protection. Right of Protection is, it gives you your Warlord trait where you can perform a psychic action, Warp Charge 5. If your psychic power, so during that psychic phase, if the Warlord can attempt to get the psychic power action, if it's completed, select a friendly Swordbearer vehicle within 12 inches of the Warlord. Until the start of the phase, that model has a 4+ invul save. Now, that's really nice, giving your vehicles a 4+ invul save. That is really nice. But again, I feel Swordbearers is something I'm going to combination with Dread Knights. And Dread Knights, without giving too much away, let's just say they already have a decent invul save. But yeah, we'll come to that. Are there ways to multicast? As in, I'm assuming what you mean, Kevin Roach, is casting the same psychic power twice. As far as I can tell, the answer is no. There is not an ability to do that. I think the only thing that I've seen in codexes that comes close to that is the Catan ability, where you can cast an additional Catan power, roll a d6, consult the table, and even if it's already been cast, you can cast it again. I've not found a way to cast the same psychic power again yet. But I could be wrong. I need to read this codex again. We'll touch on a few more. Blades of Victory. Blades of Victory. Their stratagem, guys, is use this stratagem in the charge phase. When a Blades of Victory core infantry unit in your army finishes a charge move, select one enemy unit with an engagement range of the Blades of Victory. Roll a d6 for each model in the Blades of Victory unit within engagement range. For each dice roll that exceeds the enemy's toughness, suffer one mortal wound. Gonna avoid this one if I'm being brutally honest. Sorry, Blades of Victory, but it's not something that I'm keen on. I don't quite like a lot of these rules where you charge something and you spam d6s to cause mortal wounds. It tends to never work out in your favor. I know Tyranids have quite a lot of these things, but it just doesn't really work. Right, let's have a look at this for us. So, Psychic Power, Inescapable Pursuit, Blessing. It's a Warp Charge 6. Manifest until the start of your next charge phase. You can reroll charge rolls. Not bad. Not bad at all. But you've got command point rerolls, and there's a few other nice charge stuff you're going to see later on in this codex. Again, still not great. Warlord trait, Vanguard Aggression. After deployment, you can select one friendly Blade of Victory core unit within 9 inches of the Warlord. This Warlord is then selected, can make a normal move up to 6 inches. Again, I'm not really too impressed. Blades of Victory, I think we're probably going to move on from. Let me know what you think about Blades of Victory, guys. I am not too keen on that one. And yeah, you're saying, yep, it's garbage. It is garbage. Ward Makers has already been revealed, guys, on the Warhammer community. But just as a quick reminder, their stratagem is select a 1 ward unit character. Select a psychic power from the Dominus discipline. The model does not know and replace it, basically. So you're just replacing a psychic power. Yeah, okay. But it's cheap and it's 1 command point. Not the best. Psychic Power, Projection of Purity. If manifested, it's Warp Charge 6. Select 1 enemy unit within 12 inches of the Psyker until the start of the next Psychic phase. That unit is not affected by the aura abilities from models in its own army. I really like that. I think taking away aura abilities is quite essential in this game. We had a lot of reroll for aura abilities in 8th edition. Not so much in 9th because certain units can't impact themselves with their rerolls, but it's still a great asset to remove reroll hits a 1, reroll wins a 1, just reroll abilities in general. Let me know what you think about that. The stratagem's not so great, but the psychic power, is pretty neat. Lore Master, each time a psychic test is taken for your Warlord, if the result is an unmodified 8 or plus, greater or equal to the power's warp charge value, your opponent cannot attempt to deny it. Again, that's not bad, but you're going to find out later in this codex there's a lot of other ways to stop your opponent from denying a psychic test without having to go Ward Makers. But still, decent box of tricks. Prescient Brethren, if I pronounced that right, could have pronounced it completely wrong. We have Foresight for 1 command point. Use the stratagem in the shooting phase when a Prescient Brethren Psyker from your army is selected to shoot or fight in the fight phase. When a Prescient Brethren Psyker from your army fights, until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll hit roll a 1 and reroll wind roll a 1. Already brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Really good stratagem. Only 1 command point. And you're going to get to reroll hits of 1 and reroll wins of 1. Very interested. Psychic Power, Fatal Precognition. It's a malediction. Warp Charge 5. If manifested, select 1 enemy unit within 12 inches of the Psyker until the start of your next phase. Each time an enemy unit makes a normal move, advance or fall back, or makes a charge move, roll 1d6. On a 4 or 5, the enemy unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a 6, the enemy unit suffers 3 mortal wounds. A unit can only be selected for the Psychic Power once. I quite like that. It's very situational. It is a 50-50 chance to dish out those mortal wounds. But if you really want to, something's coming in and you want to start hurting a unit quickly, then yeah, that's great on characters with 5 or 6 wounds. You can get early damage in quick. Quite interested in that. Warlord trait, Divination. Your Warlord has this Warlord trait. It can attempt to perform the following psychic action. So your psychic phase, the Warlord can attempt to perform a psychic action. If completed, you gain 1 command point. So basically, it's a command point refunder. Prescient Brethren, so far, better than Ward Makers in my opinion, and better than the Sword guys. We have a couple more. I'm going to try and go through as many of these as I possibly can without losing my voice. But yeah, Preservers. So Preservers, we have 1 command point here. And Preservers, It's use the stratagem in the battle when you muster your army. Select one Preserver's Dreadnought unit from your army. That model can move, has a move characteristic of 8 inches. You can reroll charge rolls for that model, and each time you fight, or if it made a charge move that turn until it's resolved, +1 damage characteristic for melee weapons. I'm not gonna lie, I can see this trying to make Dreadnoughts more relevant again in the Grey Knight Codex, but I'm probably not going to use that much. It just doesn't seem to make sense for me. Tides of Escalation. I always did it. Well, we'll come on to Tides of Escalation soon, guys, about casting multi-power, so that's great. Psychic Power, Aegis Eternal. It's a blessing. Manifestation 6. If manifested, the unit must start the next psychic phase. Until the start of the next psychic phase, each model in the Psyker's unit that would lose a wound on a roll of a d6 on a 6, the wound is not lost. While the Psyker unit is in 3 inches of a character, the wound is not lost on a 3 inches of a friendly apothecary. I don't know. That blessing's great, but on a roll of a 6 up, probably not worth it. A roll of 5 up on an apothecary, that's great, but apothecaries you're going to find are pretty dear. So maybe not the best there, guys. Warlord trait, Radiant Exemplar. Add 3-inch range to your Warlord's aura abilities. Not bad, to a maximum of 12. Yeah, not bad. I did a Imperial Fist battle recently where I improved my aura to 9 inches from 3 inches, and I found it very, very useful. Just purely because... I'm just going to reset my camera here 2 seconds. Purely because just giving you that extra ability to get more range on the battlefield and have your army slightly less turtled up. So I quite enjoyed that. But yeah, it's not the best aura ability in the world, and it's not the best Warlord trait, but it's getting there. Rapiers. So 1 command point. Use the stratagem in the fight phase when Rapiers unit from your army is selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time that model in the unit makes a melee attack, an unmodified roll of 6 is an additional hit. Not bad, guys, especially with Grey Knights being very combat heavy. Quite excited for that. Symphonic Strike is a blessing. So Warp Charge 6, if manifested until the start of your Psychic phase, add 1 to the attacks characteristics of models in the Psychic unit. Again, not bad. Warlord trait, your Warlord is eligible to declare a charge even if it advanced this turn. Yeah, not bad. The Rapiers one actually looks really good. If you're going to go combat heavy and go all out for attacks, you're going to get additional attacks. You're going to get to add more attacks in your Psychic phase, and you're going to get to reroll with your Warlord. Advance and charge your Warlord. That's a really good stratagem. Brotherhood. Really like Rapiers. I'll definitely be giving that a try out and using that on the battlefield. And again, yeah, Cameron, not insane, but definitely good. I feel like they all need to try and beat Prescient at this point. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Was the Psyker giving Feel No Pain 6 up and 5 up with the Apothecary nearby? Let's go back, guys, to Aegis Eternal. I'll just read this out for you guys. This is from the Preservers. On a d6, and it's a 6 up to cast, on a d6 that wound is not lost. While a Psyker unit is within 3 inches of a Grey Knight Apothecary, that wound is not lost on a 5 up. So, basically it is sort of Feel No Pain 6 up, and 5 up with an Apothecary. So yeah, correct. Guys, I'm trying to get through these as quickly as possible, conscious of time, but we've got 2 more, and I do want to finish touching on these last 2 ones. And I can tell that my webcam is frozen. My actual webcam, well, I apologize for this. Obviously, my internet bandwidth is going a little bit nuts today. But yeah, let's take a look though at Exactors. So Exactors has a stratagem, Warp Charge 1. Use the stratagem when you heroically intervene. Your opponent's charge phase. Select 1 Exactor unit from your army that is not within engagement range of any enemy units. Until the end of the phase, it can perform a heroic intervention as if it were a character. Situational. I've seen it work for Space Wolves, something similar. Okay. Fires of Covenant. It's a Witchfire ability, 5 to cast. Roll a d6 for each model in an enemy unit. That's an engagement range. On a 4+, they suffer a mortal wound. If the Psykers manifesting this power has the Epitome Warlord trait, which we'll come to, they will suffer an additional mortal wound after all dice have been made. Each unit can only be selected the psychic power once. Now, I really like that, guys. That Fires of Covenant is really good. Basically, with the wounds, or with that Warlord trait, which you'll see later, you can really stack up those mortal wounds. And on a 50-50 roll, not a 6+ roll, that's something I rate. And we're not capped to up to 4 models or up to 5 models. We're just roll a dice for each model in the enemy unit. Great horde killer, that one, guys. Warlord trait is Oath of Witness, and it's an aura. Add 1 to the Warlord's leadership characteristic. While a friendly Exactor's core unit is within 6 inches of the Warlord, morale tests are automatically passed. We're Space Marines. We don't need to improve morale. We already have insane morale, except for Necrons. And finally, guys, we move on to the Silver Blades. Now, this Silver Blades, let's see what they do. So they've got a stratagem for adaptive excoriation. Okay, adaptive excoriation. Use this stratagem in the movement phase when Silver Blade's core unit from your army falls back. It's eligible to shoot that turn even if it fell back. Not bad. Temporal Accuracy is their blessing, psychic power. 5+ to cast. If manifested until the start of your next psychic phase, all Stormbolters, Mastercrafted Stormbolters, relics that replace either these weapons, that models with the psychic unit is equipped as treating as being a pistol 4 weapon with the range of 12+. Nah, I'm going to give that a miss. That to me just sounds like trash. Absolute trash. Temporal Accuracy, yeah, you're guaranteeing maximum shots, but you're half in your range. It's basically assuming that you're going to be always in combat or always close. I'm okay. I can give that a miss. Grey Knight is basically, if you're in combat with something, you should absolutely be mashing it up. You shouldn't need pistols to mash up the unit. Warlord trait. So we have at the start of the fight phase, if this Warlord is within engagement range of the enemy units, it can fight first. Great. And each time Warlord makes a melee attack, you can reroll a hit wound roll. Great. That's absolutely fine. Not going to complain. So overall, guys, I'm going to be honest, there some really nice options for Grey Knights in the Brotherhood. Some better than others. Definitely be giving them all a try at some point just to see how it goes. But let me know in the comment section in the chat there what you think about the Brotherhood rules. Certainly a couple that are standing out to me. The Rapiers one I think is really standing out. I will 100% be giving that a shot. Just trying to reset my webcam here, guys, because it is not having fun. There we go. Just obviously Bamba's having a bad day. Right, so we're going to move on, guys, to the next one. Here we go. Wisdom of the... I thought it was Procrastinators, but it's Prognosticators. Okay, so Wisdom of the Prognosticators. Essentially, this is what you've seen now in a lot of other codexes. It gives you an option to upgrade your units with either visions or gifts. Now, you cannot give this to things like named characters, but essentially it just has to be a character with the Grey Knight keyword. So if your army is Battleforge and includes any Grey Knight units in the detachment, except for auxiliary support, super heavy auxiliary, or fortifications, then when you're mustering your army, you can upgrade a Grey Knight's character in your army, giving them either a vision of the Olgerium or a gift of the Prescient Chosen. Now, it doesn't say and, it's one or the other. And obviously, you'll consult the table, and then you will pay your points. That's me simplified that for you guys there. I'm just going to turn my webcam off because it is just going berserk. There we go. Okay, and I'll turn that off as well. There we go. So it's just going to be me today, guys, that you're going to get to see. Just this you can see. Right, so the visions, you've got your section there. You can see, guys, how much it costs in power rating, how much it costs in points, and again, vice versa for the gifts. I'm going to break these down over here. So we're going to talk about the visions first. The visions of the Olgerium. Now, these are actually pretty good. Let's take a wee deeper dive. So the Augury of Aggression, really quite simple. It's once per battle. When a friendly Grey Knight core or Grey Knight character that's within 12 inches of this model is selected to fire Overwatch, this model can experience the vision. If it does so, then until the end of the phase, they can basically overwatch hits are scored an unmodified hit roll of 4. So if you want overwatch and a 4+, take that vision. Heroism Favor. Once per battle, at the end of your opponent's charge phase, you can select one friendly Grey Knight core unit within 12 inches of the model. That unit can perform a heroic intervention as if it were a character. You want some backup? You know, you want to chuck in some purifiers in there into a fight, then away you go. What I'm also going to do, guys, just so you can see this a bit better, I am going to make my screen bigger with the magic of editing. Let's make this a bit bigger, shall we? Give us a wee second. Not trying to mess up the stream here, guys, but I am genuinely trying to... it's not going to let me do it. Because we started streaming. That's not good. Right, I'll just resize this down. Gotta love the world of streaming. Never goes the way you planned. Okay, right. So, let's get back into this, guys. Let's stop the distraction. Yeah, I was going to try and make it huge, but it's not letting me change the actual live stream just purely because it started streaming. So, a noble death, right? A noble death. Once per battle in your command phase, this model can experience this vision. If it does until the start of the next command phase, it gains the following ability. A noble death aura. While a friendly Grey Knight's core unit or character is within 6 inches of this model, it gains objective secured ability and can set to defend. If a model has already used this objective secured ability, the model counts as one additional model when controlling objective markers. That's actually not too bad. If you're one of these I play the objective type players, sure, go for that vision, a noble death. You're going to lock down those objectives pretty quickly with characters and your troops, and doubly with troops. We then have Omen of Incursion. Once per battle at the end of the reinforcement step, your opponent's movement phase, of your opponent's movement phase, this model can experience the vision. If it does, select one Grey Knight's core or Grey Knight's character unit from your army that is not within engagement range of the enemy unit. It can shoot as if it were the shooting phase, but the models can only target a single eligible unit that was set up in reinforcements that turn and is within 12 inches of their unit to do so. So basically, if you're going to get dropped, you can choose to shoot at someone if you're choosing this vision. Very situational, though, because you're hoping they're going to drop on your unit that, well, you know, that's within the unit of your choice. So if they drop a Rhino, for example, you're not going to choose this vision. Or you can't choose a vision because it has to be character or core. But yeah, if they choose the wrong unit, there's no point in having this vision. You want them to drop a meaty unit of yours that you want to spring this trap. Presaged Paralysis. Once per battle at the start of your charge phase, if this model is on the battlefield, you can select one enemy unit on the battlefield. Until the end of the phase, that unit cannot fire, overwatch, or set to defend. Hello. Yeah, that's great. You can shut down Overwatch and set to defend. I'm just looking at you Tal players. When I'm coming up against you, I am taking Presage Paralysis. That's going to work. That is great. I like it. Foretelling of Locus. After both players have deployed their armies, select up to 3 Grey Knight core units from your army and redeploy them. Someone's stealing a trick out of the Catan the Deceiver here. If the mission uses Strategic Reserves rules, any of those units can be replaced into Strategic Reserve without having to spend additional CPs. That's not bad, regardless of how many units are already on the Strategic Reserves. If both players have abilities that redeploy units roll off, the winner chooses who redeploys their units first. That's really not bad, guys. Foretelling the Locust, putting additional reserves in at no extra cost. Getting the drop on your opponent's deployment. I like stuff like that. Yeah, not bad. So guys, that's the visions. Let me know what you thought. A few really quite good there, a few not so good, but yeah, quite okay. Let's move on to the gifts of Prescient. So, the True Name Shard. We have once per battle at the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy demon unit within 6 inches of the bearer. That unit is not eligible to fight this phase until after all eligible units have done so. Yeah, it could be fun. It's very situational. Again, you're banking on your opponent bringing demons, guys. Not the best. Okay, so temporal bombs. Before the battle, select one area terrain feature that is not within your opponent's deployment zone and note it down secretly on your army roster. The first time the enemy unit starts or ends a move on or within the terrain feature, reveal your choice, roll a d6, and a 2+ that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. I think they took that from the first rendition of 8th edition Kill Team. I remember something being incredibly similar. But yeah, not bad, I guess. Not bad. So we then have Servant of the Throne. Once per battle, when the bearer is selected as a target of an attack, it can use this gift. If it does, then until the end of the turn, the bearer has a 3+ invul saves. Yeah, sure. Why would you not take that? To give yourself a 3+ invul for the target of an attack. If someone's going to chuck a crazy weapon, like, I don't know, what's his name? The Minears from the Silent King, one of those straight 6 damage, chucks that at one of your guys. I'm going to use Servant of the Throne when it's target of an attack. That's brilliant. Yeah, chuck a 3+ invul in there. Deluminator of Majesty. So Deluminator of Majesty. When you give this model this gift, select one bolt weapon it is equipped with. Once per battle, when the bearer shoots that weapon, you can choose for it to fire the Delmunar Majesty Bolt. Delmunar Majesty Bolt up here. If you do, then select one attack with that weapon, but if it scores a hit against a demon unit, until the end of your next shooting phase, that unit loses any aura abilities it has, in addition to any normal damage. Really, really good. Again, if you're fighting against demons, but still quite interesting. Yeah, Cameron raises a really good point there, guys. But 3+ invul, something that they were trying to remove in 9th edition. They are. Grey Knights still have some access to it. So do Thousand Suns, actually. But we'll come on to 3+ invuls later on because you're going to start to see a theme. Gem of Inoktu. Once per battle, when the bearer is selected to manifest psychic powers, you can use this gift. If you do so until the end of the phase, each time the bearer attempts to manifest psychic power from the Dominus discipline, add 2 to the attempts cast. Great, that's pretty Grey Knightish. I like that. I'm not going to complain. And then finally we have Severance Bolt. So when you give this model this gift, select one weapon before the battle. Select an enemy character once. Select a character unit as well to go with it. Once per battle, when the bearer shoots this weapon, you can choose for it to fire a Severance Bolt. If you do, you can only make one attack with this weapon, but when selecting a target, you can ignore Lookout Sir rule, so you're basically becoming a mini sniper. When selecting that character you pre-chose, when making an attack with the Severance Bolt against a character, if it successfully hits the target will suffer d3 mortal wounds, and the attack sequence ends. If the target is a psyker, roll 3d6. If it exceeds the target's leadership, select one psychic power that psyker knows, and it can no longer know it for the rest of the battle. Again, not bad. Not going to complain. It's pretty damn good. So guys, that's a have a look at the gifts and the visions. It's time to go on to the meat and bones, and I'm going to take a drink of water because my word, I can lose my voice at this rate. But yeah, right, okay. And I'm going to take a wee second. Just remember, guys, if you can, any questions you have for this book, put it in the chat section. If we're on that section, like we're obviously talking about stratagems just now, ask away. Or if you're talking about units, we will get on to units. Maybe save it for units. So stratagems. We have 4 pages of stratagems, guys. So we've got quite a lot to chew through. Yes, Cameron, chucking that bolt of Mortarion is going to be great. It's going to be great. Especially how I hate Mortarion. I'll be chucking Grey Knights at him for sure. So let's start having a look through these in a bit more detail. Right, so we've got Psychic Channeling for 1 command point here, guys. So use this stratagem in your Psychic phase, quite similar to what it was before. Until the end of the phase, each time a Psychic test is taken, roll 1 additional d6 and discard one of the dice. Not discard the highest, you get to discard one of the dice, which is a slight change. Psychic Onslaught, given to a Grey Knight Psyker, a unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, each time the model makes a ranged attack with psi weapons, add 1 to the strength characteristics of the attack and improve AP by 1. Again, not much of a real change there, but still pretty good. A Steel Heart. Use this in a Terminator squad. Until the end of the phase, each time a model makes an attack, it can make add 1 to its attack hit rolls. For 1 command point, you're going to make your Terminators pretty damn meaty, and you'll see there's a theme here with Terminators and Paladins. Death from the Warp for 1 command point. Use a stratagem in the shooting phase when a Grey Knight Psyker unit in your army shoots. Until the end of the phase, each time a model makes a ranged attack, if that unit was set up in the battlefield using Teleportation Strike, add 1 to the attack's hit rolls. I'm already thinking I'm going to deep strike in my Grey Knight Dread Knights and I'm going to add 1 to their attack hit rolls. Definitely, that's a must for me. And Ross, stop invading our chat. This is for Grey Knights, not Thousand Suns. Stop spoiling the Thousand Suns rules. Go back to your own chat so people can go and watch what happens to Araman and his 3-up-invul over there. But yeah, guys, that sounds like a really good combination with your Dread Knight drops. Ross, I'm not going to warn you again. Oh, he just likes to troll Grey Knights. Powerful Adept for 1 command point. Use this again, Grey Knight Psyker unit, when it's selected to manifest a psychic power. Until the end of the phase, the psychic power is manifested. Increase its range by 6. Not bad, and you're going to see there's some really nice psychic powers which you're going to want to buff that range. Sanctified Killzone. I really like this. I'm a big Purgation fan, guys. And yeah, you're going to like to hear this. So, use this in a Purgation squad until the end of the phase. Each time a range attack is made by a model in that unit and targets an enemy that's within half range, add 1 to the attack's wound rolls. To me, I'm going to be converting probably a lot of my silencers to psi cannons, and you'll find out why. Adding 1 to the hit rolls is going to be brilliant. I'm going to be shredding some seriously good units. Some really good units. Final Justice. Use this in a Grey Knight character, except for Castle and Crow, and you'll find out why. So from your army that has not already been selected to fight this fight phase and is destroyed, do not remove the model. Basically, you get to fight even if you die. So for 2 command points, you can go, right, you've killed my character. No, I'm going to still do all my attacks before I go swinging out. So, swing before you die. Yeah, Die Hard off. Killzone is a bit hefty at 2 command points. I get that. But you can use some stratagems to drop in your Purgation squads. And if you drop in your guys, then let's just say you'll be in half range with some of those guns, and then the 2p becomes really worth it. But it is situational, definitely. Shadow of Undying Legends for 1 command point. So use this on a Grey Knight Dreadnought. Essentially what it does, guys, is it's like it was before, gives your Dreadnought an aura ability. So give core units reroll hits of 1 within 6 inches. And it will also give core units reroll wounds of 1. So rights of battle and tactical precision, which is not bad. So you can turn your Dreadnought into a aura standard, reroll hits of 1, reroll wounds of 1. Not going to complain. I just don't use Dreadnoughts anymore. Right, let me take some water because I am running out of voice. Right, so moving on. Purity of the Machine Spirit. Again, guys, this is quite a common one. It just determines you're going to be at full wounds remaining for your characteristics table. Nothing new there. Then we have Empiric Dissemination for 2 command points. Use this on a Brotherhood Chaplain in your army, which has not recited any litany at the start of the last command phase. This model can recite 1 litany that has not already been recited by a friendly model at the start of your last command phase. That litany is automatically inspiring, do not roll, and takes effect until the start of your next command phase. You really want to get Litany of Focus off? Boom, there you go, you've got it. So not bad, especially if your Litany is quite a crux of the way you're building your army. Chirurgic Resurrection. I think this is how you say that. I could be totally wrong. Chirurgic Resurrection. Yeah, okay. Tell me if I've done that completely wrong, guys, in the comments. But so this is select a Grey Knight Apothecary unit from your army, and then select one friendly Grey Knight infantry unit that is not starting strength but within 3 inches of the Apothecary. One of the selected units destroyed models is returned to full wounds remaining. You're just going to try and double that up with the Apothecary's abilities already. That's really the only reason you probably do that, just to get 2 models back, potentially more than 1. Psychic Locust for 2 command points. Use this on a Brotherhood captain from your army. Until the end of the phase, it gains the the Locust Aura ability. When friendly Brotherhood Psyker unit within 6 inches of this model, add 1 to their psychic tests. Not bad. Just turn your Brotherhood captain into a psychic beacon to get your psychic powers out. Not gonna complain. Finest Hour for 1 command point. Use this stratagem at the start of the Grey Knight for the Grey Knight character. Until the end of the turn, add 3 inches to its aura abilities. Earlier on, I think you guys may have heard me say when we were talking about extending aura ability ranges, there's quite a few, guys. There's a few ways to do that, this being another one. Thunderous Stride. This is where we're getting into the Dread Knight fun stuff, and I quite like this. For 1 command point, when your Dread Knight finishes a charge move, select 1 enemy unit within engagement range of that model, roll a d6, and a 2 or 5, the unit suffers d3 mortal wounds, and a 6, the unit suffers 3 mortal wounds. I like that. For only 1 command point and me being a Dread Knight spammer, yeah, I'm definitely going to use that. Anything I can do to chuck off more mortal wounds, yeah, let's go for it. Armory of Titan. Right, so this basically, I'm not going to go over this one, guys. It's essentially additional relics. So again, pretty standard. Exemplar of the Silver Host, which is additional Warlord traits. Not going to go over it. Shield of Humanity. Yeah, I'm not going to go over Shield of Humanity as well, guys. These are things that are kind of all in all of the codexes. Moving on, Endowment of Exterminus Extremis. Now this is one I do like. Use the stratagem before the battle. Select 1 Grey Knight's model from your army that has the following on their profile: Justicar or Paragon or Knight of the Flame. That model can have one of the Relics of Titan, even though they are not character. Dominar Liber Demonica, Santic Charg, or Orgarium Scrolls, or Stave of Supremacy. All of the relics in your army must be different from the one given to other different models. It doesn't sound like that's quite fun, but I quite like the idea of giving yourself this other sort of character, so I'm quite happy with that. Moving on, guys, what do we also have? Mental Focus. 1 command point, use this in your psychic phase. Select a Grey Knight Psyker in your army. Until the end of the psychic phase, you can manifest 1 more psychic power than normal. That's pretty standard. I think that was already in Grey Knights before. Not gonna complain. Fight on the move. So use the stratagem movement phase when a Grey Knight's teleporter. So that's going to be your Inceptors or your Dread Knights, should you choose to upgrade them with a teleporter. It makes a fallback move. Until the end of the turn, that unit is still eligible to shoot and charge even if it fell back. Let's just take that in for a second here, guys. For 1 command point, you can drop back your Inceptors, you can drop back your Dread Knight, shoot again, and charge again even if you fell back for 1 command point. Not gonna lie, I really do like that, guys. Tell me what you think about that one. Fight on the move. I quite like it. Cheap, definitely going to be worth it. Haloed in Soulfire for 1 command point. Use the strategy in the movement phase when a Grey Knight's core unit in your army is set up at the battlefield. Using the teleport strike ability until the next turn. Each time attack is made, subtract 1 from that's attack rolls. Good way to support your unit that's coming in. That's also really good for 1 command point. You can make that unit that's dropped in. I'm thinking already a big blob of Paladins, a big blob of Terminators. Yeah, really, really good. Untainted and Unbowed. Use this stratagem in any phase when a purifier squad from your army is selected to target an attack. Until the end of the phase, each time attack allocate this model, subtract 1 from the damage roll. I think there was something similar in 8th for that already, but really good to keep your purifiers kicking about. Reduce the damage on them when they're chosen as a target of attack. And I love purifiers, so I'm definitely going to be using that. Right, Silence Bombardment. I was reading this, and I know everyone's a fan of big bombardments, but I quite like this. I never really do them, but I'm probably going to do this just for a bit of giggles. Silence Bombardment. It's 3 command points. Use this if a Grey Knight Warlord is on the battlefield. Select 1 point in the battlefield and place a marker on that point. At the start of your next command phase, roll a d6 each time within 6 inches. Sorry, each unit within 6 inches of the center of that marker, adding 1 to the roll if it's within 3 inches of the center of the marker, and subtracting 1 to the roll if the unit being rolled for is a character. So at a 2 or 5, they suffer d3 mortal wounds. On a 6, they suffer d6 mortal wounds. The marker is removed, and you can only use a stratagem once. That to me is not bad. If you're dealing with a castle or a big blob, which I do for my Imperial Fists all the time, sure, I'm going to drop a Silence Bombardment on you and deal with that. I quite like it. It doesn't take up your guy from moving or shooting or fighting. It just says you can do it. So once per battle. I don't mind that. The need to know for 1 command point. You can only use this stratagem in your army if it contains a Grey Knight's detachment. Use this stratagem if you're playing a mission that requires you to select either a secondary or agendas. After both players have revealed their selections, you can select one of your secondary objectives or agendas and replace it with something different. Make a note of this on your army roster of your new selection and inform your opponent. All normal rules for selecting secondary objectives and agendas apply. If both players have a rule that allows them to select new secondary objectives or agendas, both players make their new selections before revealing them simultaneously to their opponent. Probably never going to use this, guys, but hey, it is what it is. Need to know. If you're into your objectives-based stuff, there you go. Alloy of Disciplines. Alloy of Disciplines. So, use the stratagem in the command phase. Select 1 paladin unit from your army. Select 1 psychic power from the Santic discipline that unit does not know, and replace the psychic power that it does. Okay, just replace the psychic power. Sure. Martial Prowess. Martial Prowess. Use the stratagem in the fight phase when a Grey Knight unit is set to defend and is selected as a target of an attack made by an enemy model. Until the end of the phase, each time on a modified save roll of 6 for that model and that unit, after attacking model is then finished making attacks, the attacking model suffers 1 mortal wound. So any unmodified save wound of a 6, you're going to bounce back some mortal wounds. Hey, it's not bad. It's more like a really expensive way of saying the word parry this. But yeah, not going to complain. It is what it is. It's not great, but it's not bad. Yeah, replace Smite with something. Yeah, not bad. Especially if Smite's not going to be an impact in the game. Steely Advance. Use this on a Grey Knight infantry unit from your army that makes a normal move. Until the end of the turn, they count as remaining stationary. There you go. Purgation Squad, you're going to be getting Steely Advance. Hexagrammic Wards. So use this stratagem in your opponent's psychic phase before you deny the witch's test is taken. We're going to Psyker. Again, add a d6 to deny the test and discard the lowest result. Not bad. We had that before. It's nice to know we still got it. Teleportation Shunt. Okay, 2 command points. Is this worth it? Grey Knight teleport unit has to be chosen. When selected to make a normal move, instead of making a normal move, you basically remove it from the battlefield and set it up anywhere 9 inches away from an enemy model. And you can only do this once per battle. Now, it's an interesting thing. I think it's really good to redeploy your units. I always like that ability because the Grey Knights are quite fast moving. But 2 command points seems a bit much. Maybe for my style of play, because I use multi-Dread Knights with teleporter, so I'm only going to be able to get to move 1 of them. But 2 command points to me seems quite a bit much. Not too keen on that. But it is there. It's there if you want to use it. Yeah, it did get nerfed to 2 command points. Yeah, vomiting at the cost. I am too. Mist of Demos, 1 command point. Basically, it's just smokescreen for your vehicles, guys. Every sort of codex that has smoke launchers has this ability now. Does it do it same turn? Yeah, it's same turn. It's same turn, Cameron. So you can remove them and set them back up. It's a same turn thing. Definitely same turn. Smoke screen again. Yeah, just the guys. It minuses 1 to hit rolls for your against your vehicles that have the smoke screen keyword. We then have true silver armor. Okay, not bad. I quite like this. This is basically, in my opinion, a proxy of transhuman physiology that the Primaris have. Essentially, Grey Knight core unit. If it contains 5 or fewer models, it's 2 command points. Anything more, it is 3 command points, and basically gets you to ignore unmodified wind rolls of 1, 2s, and 3s. Then the attack fails. Really great. I love that. I'm going to probably combo that with a couple of other squads in here, just to keep my troops kicking along. Yeah, not bad. Like it. On to the final ones, guys. We have Cybo Ammunition, which is always a classic for Grey Knights. Can't really complain. So it's 1 command point or 2 command points. 1 command point if there is 5 or less models. 2 command points if the unit contains 6 or more. Basically, what it will do is you give it to a Grey Knight unit for their bolt weapons. They automatically wound on hit rolls of a 6. Just say that again, guys. You're spamming all those storm bolters. Unmodified hit rolls of a 6 auto wound. Already, I really like that. Improved armor penetration as well by 1. Cybo Ammunition, I am going to be always taking with my blob of 10 Terminator Stormbolters. Every single time. Does it make it better than the Thousand Sun Scarabacal Inferno Bolters with their Fusillade? Probably not. But the auto wound on a 6 and AP -1, we're not going to complain. For 2 command points if you're taking a blob of 10 Terminators, or 1 command point for a blob of 5. I really like that. Cyber Ammunition's moved up straight away in my estimations. Zone of Warding, it's alright. 1 command point or 2 command points. Again, 1 command point for 5 or less, 2 command points for 6 or more. Basically, what happens is you choose a Grey Knight unit for a model that contains a Nemesis Warding Stave. Models unit then have a 5-up invul. If it's a Terminator unit containing a Warding Stave, they then have a 4-up invul, which is really not bad. Really not bad. No, Cybo Ammunition does not make them Psy weapons, so you cannot combo that with... I know what you're thinking, guys. It was... I think it was Psychic Onslaught. Was it Psychic Onslaught? Yes. Yeah, you can't combo Cybo Ammunition with Psychic Onslaught. You cannot combo the two, unfortunately. If you could, that would be absolutely insane. But not today. We then have Psych Out Grenades. Use the Stratagem shooting phase with a unit that has Psych Out Grenades selected to shoot. If that unit is not in engagement range, and it's not engagement range, with enemy units, roll a d6 and a 2+, the closest enemy Psyker. This within 6 inches suffers the peril of warp. So yeah, just lets you do peril of warp. Hoogatooth Psy weapons basically is Psy cannons, silencers, anything that has the PSI in the description or wording of the weapon is called a Psy weapon. And you can't... Cybo Ammunition does not change the weapon to a Psy weapon. That's basically what Cameron was asking. Yeah, okay. Hope that helps, guys, clear that up. Warding strat is nice, especially if you're warding stave with Terminators. 4-up invul Terminators, you're not going to complain. And then we have Frag Assault Launchers. I'm not going to cover that, guys, because that is the same as it is in every other codex. Right, so let's have a look, guys. Let's have a look at Relics, which is our next section. And I'm conscious of time. We're approaching an hour and you guys are still with me. So thank you very much, guys, for continuing to listen to me rant on and chat about the Codex. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope this is worthy for you Grey Knight players. But yeah, this is going to be quite a long stream. Do we still have Bolter Discipline or Shock Assault? We're not on that section yet, guys, but you do have Bolter Discipline, Kevin. We do have Bolter Discipline, but Grey Knights do not get Shock Assault. Let me just repeat that. Grey Knights do not get Shock Assault. The reason why they don't get Shock Assault, let's not kid ourselves, our stat profile, which you're about to see later, they've kind of had that extra attack already factored in without the need of having to charge or be charged. We just have it now. We basically just, you kind of already have Shock Assault without the need of having to do it. So yeah, it's we don't have Shock Assault, but we do have Bolter Discipline. Right, Relics, guys, let's crack on, because some of these questions we'll need to answer later on. Relics of Titan, guys. Well, I'm not going to explain how relics work, but let's just cover some of the relics. So we have Soulglaive, which replaces a Nemesis Ford Halberd. Soulglaive, each time an attack is made with this weapon, you can reroll the hit roll and you can reroll the wound roll. And its stat profile is +2 strength, AP -3, 2 damage. Love it, love it, love it. Give your character reroll hits and wounds. And it's a fairly decent stat line on characters and Grey Knights that have tons of attacks. So yeah. Yeah, guys, three attacks, yes. 3 attacks, basically. You, like Die Hard's kind of said, Death Guard can have it factored in their Hateful Assault into their stat profile. Grey Knights are the same. We've had their additional attacks from Shock Assault basically always in. It is actually better because you're not based on a charge or charging. Prolonged combats, you're always going to have your 3 attacks. Destroyer of Chrysalics. And again, apologies if I'm pronouncing these completely wrong. So this replaces a Demon Hammer. Stat line is ×2. AP -3. Let me just read that again. 4 damage. That's right, a 4 damage wielding Thunder Hammer. I'm not going to say no to that. Each time attack is made, subtract 1. You're subtracting 1, but on your character, you're going to be quite efficient with hitting. That's a really good take for a really good Grandmaster. You're buffing up to a Demon Hammer level. Not going to complain. And yeah, Die Hard, Soulglaive. Absolutely love this. Really great relic. Fury of Demos, which is always a wee favourite back in the day in about 7th edition for Grey Knights. It replaces their Mastercrafted Stormbolter or Stormbolter. Becomes Rapid Fire 3, 24 inches, Strength 5, AP -2, 2 damage. Yes. Fury of Demos is pretty solid, guys. I'm sorry, Pedro Cantor, with your amazing Stormbolter, but you may have to move aside. Grey Knights have the Fury of Demos. Not going to complain, it's pretty bad. Yes, Cameron, you're right. You can basically, with Destroyer of Chrysalics, basically give someone Voldus' hammer. No, actually, we'll come to Voldus. One might be better than the other, but we'll take a look. Banner of Refining Flame. I really like this. So it's given to an ancient model only, and the bearer can perform the following psychic action. Refining Flame, Warp Charge 6. If your psychic phase and the bearer can attempt to perform this action, each enemy unit, so all enemy units within 6 inches of the bearer, suffer D3 mortal wounds. Now, I am a Purifier spammer, so I'm already going to be taking Ancients with this banner because I just love spamming mortal wounds for Grey Knights. That's usually how I win the games. Also, Cybot Ammunition didn't say that it turns Bolter to Psi weapons. Yeah, that's what we're saying, Mikolaj, previously. Some people were asking, does Cybot Ammunition turn your unit into a Psi bolt weapon, which you could then combo with Psychic Onslaught stratagem? The answer at the moment is no. It may get FAQ'd, but Cybot Ammunition does not change the weapon profile whatsoever. It just gives it auto wound on a 6 and AP -1 at the moment. And guys, I'm sorry if I don't come to your question if I miss it in the chat. I'm trying to look up and down here to get to them, all right? Domina Liber Demonica. Enemy demon units that are set up on the battlefield as reinforcements cannot be set up within 12 inches of the bearer. That's not bad. And additionally, you have an aura ability while enemy demon units within 6 inches of this model. Each time combat attrition test is taken, subtract 1 from the test. Probably not going to take Domina Liber Demonica because it's really situational again, depending on the army you take, but it's nice to have demon stuff in your war chest. So not going to complain. The Cuirass of Sacrifice. Now, this was always a fan favourite for a lot of people, but let me know what you think about this. Infantry model only. Add 1 to the armour save of the bearer, and each time the bearer loses a wound, roll a d6 on a 5+ the wound is not lost. Now, may not be the best, because a lot of the units you're going to give it to are probably going to have a 2-up already, right? But with your Aegis ability, you're ignoring mortal wounds on a 5-up. With the Cuirass, you're now going to ignore normal wounds in a 5-up, and you're a 2-up armor save, and probably stacking a 4-up or 5-up invul. So you're going to be 2-up armor, 5-up, 4-up invul, 5-up ignore wounds, 5-up ignore mortal wounds. This may not be bad. May not be a bad combination. Just thinking about that. I need time to work out if it's worth it or not on certain characters, but yeah, not bad. Right, on to the next page, guys. Santic Chard. Each time I'm denying a test with the bearer of this, and the result of the test is an unmodified 8+, or is greater than the test, the deny the witch is passed. So basically with Santic Charge, you're always denying on an 8+, as long as unmodified. I actually really do like that. Thousand Suns. Watch out, guys, because I'm coming for you. And Yan, yes, that will potentially Cuirass's Sacrifice give you a +1 armor save. That is a potential. I missed that there, yeah, so that is definitely potential. And as Cameron says, Grey Knights now have access to potentially make our own Smash Captain. Not going to complain. But Santic Shard, guys, really good if you're against Thousand Suns. You're going to stop some of those psychic powers quite successfully. Gyro Temporal Vault. Do this when the bearer is performing a psychic action. So Gyro Temporal Empowerment Psychic Action, Warp Charge 6. If this action is successful, select one friendly Grey Knight's core or character unit within 3 inches of the bearer. Until the start of the next psychic phase, at the start of the phase, their selected unit is within engagement range. It can fight first. Not bad. We're seeing a lot of this in this codex. A lot of ways to always fight first, guys. So yeah, not bad. Not going to complain. Blade of the Forsworn. I quite like this. It replaces a Nemesis Force Sword. Strength +1, -3, but 3 damage. So very consistent damage. Abilities. Each time an attack is made by this weapon against a demon, unmodified hit rolls of 2 successfully wound the target. If the unit is a monster or vehicle keyword, and unmodified wounds of 4+, will successfully wound instead. So you're always wounding demons on 2+, monsters and vehicles you're always wounding on a 4+. Again, very situational, because it's mediocre strength, good against demons. So yeah. Pour out some Santic Shard for sure. I fully agree. Santic Shard is definitely going to be one of the way forward. Sigil of Exigence. So once per battle in your opponent's shooting phase, when the bearer is selected as the target of a ranged attack and is inactive in this relic, if it does so, remove the bearer from the battlefield and set them up on the battlefield anywhere that's more than 9 inches away from any models. If the bearer is no longer eligible target, your opponent must select a new eligible target. Basically, your opponent's about to snipe one of your characters. Nope, not today. I'm going to remove him from the field and put him somewhere else. Yeah, not bad. Again, situational, but not bad to have in your tool chest. A couple more, guys. We have the Orgarium Scrolls. Model with a Nemesis weapon. Each time the bearer is selected to fight, you can reroll a hit roll. You can reroll 1 hit roll and 1 wound roll when resolving a bearer's attack. Now, I wanted to come to this one in particular here. Remember, guys, one of the stratagems earlier on will allow you to make a Justicar, Prognosticators, whatever they're called, and a Knight of Flame. Essentially give them a relic. This is one of the relics you can give them. Give that guy, give your Justicar like a Nemesis Demon Hammer. He's got 4 attacks, and you can reroll one of those hits and reroll one of the wound rolls. Yeah, not bad. Really not bad, guys. Stave of Supremacy. So what does Stave of Supremacy do? It gives you an aura ability, which is while enemy units within 18 inches of this model, each time a psychic test is taken for that unit, it suffers a Perils of Warp on a double. I'm looking at you Thousand Suns players that like to cast lots of spells, me being one of them. That's not bad. 18 inches is really good range. I quite like that. And remember, there's a couple of combinations you've seen already in this codex to extend the range of your aura abilities. So essentially, you could make that like a 21-inch, maybe a 24-inch if you're smart, aura ability. That's a huge, essentially, null zone ability with the Stave of Supremacy. Not bad. Cantu Vambrance, infantry model only. So Cantu Vambrance. Each time the bearer in this loses a wound, as a result of a mortal wound, roll a d6 and a 4+, the wound is not lost. You're already ignoring wounds and a fat mortal wounds with the Aegis, so I don't know why I'd take that. Each time the attack is allocated to this bearer, subtract 1 from the damage characteristics. Again, it's nice to reduce damage, but I'm just not feeling that relic, Cantus Vambrance. I'm sure there's ways to make it good, but not feeling it. Artisan Nullifier Matrix, Librarian model only. Again, another aura ability. Units within 9 inches of this model, each time a psychic test is taken for that unit, it does not suffer perils of the warp. So really good ways to protect your stuff here. And yes, Ross, I did say me being one of them. If you've just jumped in, I do enjoy a little bit of psychic spam, but I need to fight against it at some point. You've got to learn how to use it and also learn how to fight against it. That's your best defense and best offense. Right, Etheric Conduit is the last one. Tech Marine. Okay, each time a bearer repairs a model using its Blessing of the Omnisci ability, it regains 3 wounds instead of D3. I'll probably move past that. But yeah, guys, that's the relics. And I'm not going to lie, I really like some of those relics, especially the offensive ones. Some great weapons to replace your hammer, your halberd, or your sword. Nothing to replace falchions, though, I've seen. But you can replace your sword, and let's not kid ourselves, we can deal some serious damage in combat. Also, some really nice trolley relics with regards to, denying. You can auto-deny on 8 pluses, unmodified that is. Make a massive perils null zone. Yeah, I quite like those relics. I think those relics all have their place. So Ross is now spamming Ultramarine, so I'm going to ignore that and just move on. Guys, let's come into the disciplines before we move on. I'm not going to touch on the litanies, guys, just purely because it's pretty much the same as the Space Marine ones. So we're going to ignore litanies. We will touch on Warlord traits, but let's move on to Dominus powers and Santic powers. And while I do that, let me just wet my palate because, oh boy, I've been talking a lot. Right, Dominus Discipline. Let's get into it, guys. Dominus Discipline, the old classic Grey Knight psychic power table. Gate of Infinity, Empiric Amplification, Sanctuary, Vortex of Doom, Warp Shaping, and Ghostly Bonds. Most of these are pretty much the same, so I already apologise for the repetition, but we need to talk about them. So, Gate of Infinity, really simple, guys. Warp Charge 7. This within 18 inches of the Psyker. Just remove it and set it up anywhere else in the battlefield more than 9 inches away. Always good old classic. Empiric Amplification's a blessing. Warp Charge 7. Select one enemy unit within 12 inches of the Psyker that's visible. So it must be visible. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack made with a Nemesis or Psi weapon is allocated to that model and unit, add 1 to the damage. Sure, we're definitely taking that and we're going to make some units rest in peace. That's all I can say. That is going to hurt. Definitely going to hurt. Especially with the combinations with Psychic Onslaught and already with Nemesis weapons having a bit of an upgrade, which we'll come on to. Yeah, Gate of Infinity, Cameron is Dominus. Sanctuary, guys, that is, yeah, okay. Basically, it's slightly changed. So it's a Warp Charge 6, select a unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. Next phase, the model, so it doesn't either give it an invul save if it didn't already have one, it's just the model gets a 4-up invul save. So you're not going to do that on any of your, no spoilers ahead, Dread Knights, and you'll find out why. But yeah, 4-up invul. Not bad, it's good to have. It's 6 to cast, quite cheap. Vortex of Doom. Vortex of Doom, guys. Witchfire. Warp Charge 7. Select an enemy unit, the close enemy unit within 12 inches of the Psyker, and each other enemy unit within 3 inches of the selected unit suffers 1 mortal wound, and then selected unit suffered 2d3 mortal wounds. So the main unit suffers 2d3 mortal wounds. Every other unit within 3 inches will suffer 1. 2d3 is not bad for only Warp Charge 7. If the model manifests and the power has the Psychic Epitome Warlord trait, only units that's selected suffers the additional mortal wounds. Those other units circumferencing the 3 inches will not. And again, we're going to come on to that Warlord trait. Warp Shaping. Warp Charge 4. Basically, you can change tides. That's always been the case, guys. Warp Charge 4, you can change some tides. And I don't mind Vortex of Doom. You're right, guys. As you said, Cameron, not nuking your own dudes. Yeah, you're safe to do that now without killing your own guys. I quite like it, and it's quite cheap as well. And when you come to the Epitome Warlord trait, you'll see how that selected unit you chose against can get really hit pretty hard with mortal wounds. But yeah, Ghostly Bonds, which is your last one. Warp Charge 5. Select enemy unit within 15 inches, visible to the enemy Psyker. I like this. Half its movement's characteristic until the next Psychic phase. Ghostly Bonds, I'm definitely going to take a couple of armies I can already name off the bat. That's really going to be a detriment to them. Tyranids, Necron, Novok stuff. Even Elder, Craftworld's trying to get away from me. Not today. You're going to have your range and I'm going to catch up to you. So quite cool, that one. Quite like Ghostly Bonds. Let me know what you guys think about Ghostly Bonds in the chat. Quite like that. Santic Discipline. A couple of really nice ones here I do enjoy, actually, guys. So, I need to read this out first, right? So, Psychic Confluence, which isn't a power, it's just at the top here. Each time a Grey Knight Psyker is selected to manifest psychic powers, it can attempt to manifest any of the psychic powers that it knows from the Santic Discipline, even if that power has already been attempted to be manifested by another unit that phase. Well, there we go, guys. Remember earlier on in the chat, there was a couple of questions. Can you double up your powers even if they've already been cast? Thank you, Games Workshop. We're no longer restricted to just one hammer hand. We can multicast. Eat that, 1,000 Suns. We can multicast again from this table. So guys who asked that question in the chat, I didn't know if I could find a way to do it. We've just found one. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing, guys. So yeah, we can multicast it, and and you can even multicast it if it was successful or not. A couple more things. So each time such an attempt is made, the only one debuff, guys, is you will have to add +1. So if you're doing Hammer Hand twice, Hammer Hand becomes casting value 5 in the first attempt, and now becomes casting value 6 in the second attempt, which I think, by the way, is a fair trade-off. If you're multicasting, it's going to get one level harder each time. So I'm quite happy with that, guys. Let's go into what we can multicast. Oh, this is nice. I'm loving being a Grey Knight player again now. Astral Aim, guys. It's a blessing. Warp Charge 6. Each time a Psyker unit is selected to shoot, you can reroll one hit roll when resolving the attacks. In addition to this, each time a model with a Psyker's unit makes a range attack that targets does not suffer the benefit of cover. Now, interesting, it doesn't define the cover. It just says benefits of cover. No benefits of cover. And again, you can reroll one hit roll when resolving the unit's attacks. Astral Aim is slightly had a nerf. You're mainly going to use it for ignoring the cover ability, guys. Sorry for the camera going all woozy there. Purge Soul. Witchfire. Warp Charge 6. Select an enemy unit within 6 inches visible to the Psyker that has not already been selected by the power of this phase. Then roll 1d6, add the Psyker's leadership to the characteristic. Your opponent then rolls a d6 and adds their leadership to the roll. If your roll is higher than your opponent selected, then the unit suffers. If your roll off is higher, it's d3 mortal wounds. If it's equal, it's 1 mortal wound, and if it's lower, nothing happens. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. So yeah, Hammer Hand, which is the one you all want to multicast. In Hammer Hand, guys, I've had a slight change. Some Warp Charge 5. Select a Psyker unit. It's reroll the wound rolls. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Hammer Hand used to be add 1 to your wound rolls. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's now reroll your wound rolls. Let's not underestimate what we've got there with Hammer Hand. Wounding, with the multicasting, it's not going to be a problem for a Grey Knights in combat. We are going to be wounding a lot of stuff. Purifying Flame is a Witchfire. Now, Purifying Flame is basically the Purifier Smite now. That's what it is. And yes, Diehard, yes, Hammerhand has been buffed, and it's a huge buff, Cameron. You're totally right. Rerolls are always way better than +1. It is just better wounding. Right, so Purifying Flame is Warp Charge 5, and enemy units within 9 inches of the visible to Psyker, they'll suffer 3 mortal wounds. Straight up 3 mortal wounds. No more rolling to see how many, it's just straight up 3 mortal wounds. And if it's 11 plus to cast, then it's D3 plus 3. Now notice it's not unmodified, it's 11 plus simple, D3 plus 3. There's a couple of other ways to combo this, but Purifying Flame is pretty nice, guys. Not going to complain about that. You're going to be purging some units off the table. Armored Resilience. Basically, again, I really like this, especially because you can multicast this on units. Warp Charge 6. Until the start of the next Psychic phase, add 1 to the armor saving throws of models within that Psyker's unit. Well, I'm going to give me some +1 Terminators, and I'm going to give me some +2 Strike Teams. Armor Resilience, the fact they're allowing us, I think this will be errated or nerfed. The fact they're allowing us, guys, to buff our armors multicast. Just let that sink in for a second. That's going to be mental. And then we have Ethereal Castigation. Warp Charge 6. If manifest, the Psyker's unit can shoot as if it were the shooting phase. It can then make a normal move as if it were the movement phase. After making this move or shoot, resolving those attacks, until the end of the turn, the unit cannot make a normal move, advance, or charge shoot. That's fine, but basically you can reposition some units in the Psychic phase for what's coming up and shoot ahead of time to soften some stuff up. And yeah, guys, Cameron, who needs Storm Shields when you can just keep giving yourself Armor of Resilience? There is some crazy good stuff in this codex. This in particular, guys, Santic Discipline is mental. Arguably, this has more utility, I think, than the Thousand Suns Psychic table, which, guys, you can jump over to Ross's video and double check. But there is a utility here for days. I'm loving this. Absolutely loving this. Yeah. I did mention, guys, we're going to skip the litanies. We're not going to touch on these if you don't mind. Warlord traits. This is something I really want to touch on, is Warlord traits. And then we'll touch on Chapter Approved. So your Warlord traits, guys, you still have your named character Warlord traits. So Drago has Demon Slayer. Voldus has Lore Master. Stern has Unyielding Anvil. And Crow has Hammer of Righteousness. I'm just going to take a quick drink of water, guys, if you don't mind. And again, I want to say a big thank you to all you still staying with us. We're now over an hour here. We've still got a long way to go. I hope you're enjoying this, guys. I hope you're getting all the information you need from your Grey Knight Codex for your Grey Knight players. And any comments or questions, put it in the chat. If you're watching this in a replay, put it in the comments section and we'll get around to doing it. Ross, I see you've just joined the stream chat again. Mine just finished. Yours just finished. Well, you might want to start rewatching this or rewind the live stream to see how good the Grey Knight Psychic powers are, especially the fact that we can multicast. And let us know if you think that's topping what the Thousand Suns have. All right, guys, Warlord traits. Let's crack into this. So we have Demon Slayer. Again, that's Drago's. Each time the Warlord fights, if it makes a charge move this turn, then until the fight is resolved, add 1 to the attack's characteristics. That's going to be quite nasty, giving yourself additional attacks on top of ways to already get additional attacks that you've previously just seen. And each time you fight against a demon, they can't take invul saves. We already knew that was gonna be there. Yes, Dark Zinch, if you've just joined us, Grey Knights have 2 disciplines. They have Dominus and Sanctic, and Sanctic has the Psychic Confluence special rule. Psychic Confluence basically allows you to multicast any Sanctic power, but at a +1 to its casting value each time you redo it. So basically, we can give multiple units in our army 2-up armor saves. We can give multiple units in our army reroll wounds. There's a couple of other nice things, but that's just 2 that I want to point out. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Hammer of Righteousness is another one that I love, this Warlord trait, and this goes to Crow if you take Crow. Each time the Warlord makes a melee attack, if it made a charge move or was charged or did heroic intervention, add 1 to the wound rolls. This looks very nice with Hammerhand, guys. Rerolling your wounds with Hammerhand and adding +1 to your wounds, you're going to hurt some stuff with your Warlord. Smash Captains are confirmed with Grey Knights, 100%. Maybe we can do the best Smash Captains now. Just putting that out there, up for debate, but we can create some crazy characters. Unyielding Anvil is an aura ability. Units within 6 inches of the Warlord, that would be core and character. That has the objective secured units. That model already basically counts as having an additional model when controlling the market. And you've already seen a couple of ways to make that. So you're basically doubling up twice if you're doing OBSEC. I don't like it. Probably not going to take Unyielding Anvil, but hey, it's there. First to the fray. This was always my go-to Warlord trait, and it still is. Add 1 to the advance and charge rolls for the Warlord. Yeah, we're definitely going to do that. If the Warlord has made a charge move this turn, then until the end of the turn, each time a friendly Grey Knight core unit declares a charge against an enemy unit that's within engagement range of the Warlord, add 1 to the charge rolls made for that unit. Quite nice. I just like the ability to add 1 to my charge rolls. And you're going to see some reasons where you can make your charges very efficient. So not bad, but I like it. Nemesis Lord. Each time your Warlord makes an attack with a Nemesis weapon, an unmodified of hit roll of 6 always wins a target. Yeah, let that sink in for you guys. Yeah, always wins a target. Psychic Epitome. Now, this is the one you've just seen previously is referred to quite a lot when it comes to mortal wound spamming with those Brotherhood cults, those stratagems, psychic powers like Purifying Flame. A couple of the relics have referred to this as well. So what is Psychic Epitome? At the start of each psychic phase, select one friendly Grey Knight Psyker in the unit within 6 inches of the Warlord. Until the end of the phase, each time it manifests a Witchfire psychic power. When resolving that psychic power, enemy unit suffers an additional mortal wound. That's how, guys, you can double up your smites, your Purifying Flames. That banner that the Ancient has where he activates that and does a psychic action to burst units into mortal wound spam. You can combo additional damage within the Psychic Epitome Warlord trait. Something you will definitely want to consider, guys. I actually quite like this. Especially if you're a Mortal Wound Spammer Grey Knight Force. That's a must. Chapter approved rules. Guys, I'm not going to go over these. This is obviously your additional stratagems and stuff like that. If you don't mind, I'm going to just move past this because this isn't why you came for chapter approved. I do apologize if you did, guys. But chapter approved is something I'm not going to be touching on. Obviously, we have our name generator. Great. Going to move on from that. Crusade rules, I did say I was going to skip, guys, because we don't do Crusade stuff on the channel. So I'm not a fully qualified person to really give you the lowdown on this. Okay. Secondaries are so lame. Give us them tides, daddy. Well, oh, look what we just got to. Tides and datasheet rules. Right, so we'll go into datasheets. Be patient. We're going to get to tides. Be patient. Yeah, guys, I didn't cover litanies, but I did mention that litanies are pretty much a like for like of the Space Marine one. It's just they've changed the keywords to fit Grey Knights. That's all they've done. So your litany of focus and stuff like that is all there. Okay, the litanies are all there. Right, data sheets, guys. So the Brotherhood keyword. Right, so here's your keys. I'm not going to go over this, guys. So basically, your Brotherhood keyword is replaced with those Brotherhoods that we just talked about at the start. I know you cover chapter approved, Ross, but I'm giving the Grey Knight players what the Grey Knights just want to know, which is the real meat and bones, Ross. None of this chapter approved stuff, which you can research on your own time. Right, anyway, Brotherhood basically is you change those Brotherhoods into those keywords. So your Ward Makers, your Rapiers. Rapiers is one again pointed. That's the one I'm probably going to be using. Love that one. Love that one. Deployment abilities will come to. War Gear, Warless. You don't need to go for that. Abilities. So, abilities. You'll have Knights of the Titan. Again, if you're Brotherhood and Battleforged. That gives you the Aldatio Know No Fear rule. Bolter Discipline, which some of you asked earlier on, do we have? And Masters of the Warp. Masters of the Warp is your tides. Bolter Discipline, guys, is like for like, and Aldatio Know No Fear is like for like. No change from the ones in Space Marines. Like Aldatio Know No Fear is ignoring combat attrition modifiers, any or all. Bolter Discipline is obviously your rapid fire weapons for infantry and Terminators and all that sort of stuff. Deployment abilities, so we still have combat squads. The start of deployment before units are set up. If it contains the maximum number of models, you can split it into 2 units, so we can still combat squad guys. Some people like that, some people don't. I like it because it gives you a bit more situational, You've got 30 strike team. You maybe want to switch it into 3 squads or 6 squads, depending on how deployment's going, and depending on how objectives are, how much objectives you need to take. Teleportation strike is again very much like Teleportarium strike. Just set up a unit anywhere from reinforcements more than 9 inches away of an enemy model. Okay, so no real changes there, guys. Okay, what we'll do then, Mikolaj, if you want, I'll go back to litanies really quickly. We'll pause Masters of Warp, guys. We'll keep you waiting for a wee bit longer. Let me just go back to litanies for a second. And yes, Die Hard, 6 squads is big money. So we have the litanies. Right, so we have Litany of Expulsion, Words of Power, Entombment for Guidance, Psalm of Purity, Refrain of Convergence, Recitation of Projection, and Invocation of Focus. Let's go over them, right? Because in case they aren't the same, I thought they were the same when I read up about them. But if they're not, let's have a wee chat about it. Right, so we have Litany of Expulsion. Choose Grey Knight core or Grey Knight character within 6 inches of a priest. Each time the unit makes an attack, you can reroll hit rolls. Absolutely fine. I think there's a similar one to say on that. Yeah, Ross, it is a shame the Grey Knights only have two models, but it's a shame. It is a shame. Only 2 models that were added in, but it is what it is. Words of Power. Litany did a Grey Knight core or Grey Knight character again, 6 inches of the priest. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack with a nemesis weapon, an unmodified wound roll of 6 successfully wounds the target 1 additional time, and the Tide of Convergence is dormant. And if the Tide of Convergence is dormant, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So that is different. So Mikolaj, my apologies. Let's have a chat about these. So Words of Power is not bad. You can basically stack up some wounds. Entombment for Guidance. If this litany is inspiring, select 1 Grey Knight core or character again within 6 inches of the priest. Each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, you can ignore any or all roll to hit ballistic skill modifiers. Not gonna lie, that's pretty good. Can't really complain. Psalm of Purity, again, core or character within 6 inches of the priest. Each time a model in the unit makes a range attack, an unmodified wound roll of 6, improved armor penetration by 1. Again, not bad. We're seeing ways to spam quite a lot of damage. And here we go. Refrain of Convergence. Convergence. Unit is selected within 6 inches of the priest. That unit and the models it contains stop being affected by any psychic powers that are being affected, that have been manifest by an enemy unit. Yeah, again, it's quite good. It's hard to pull that one off because of the range that's involved, but not too bad. And then you have until the start of the next command phase, that unit and all models it contains are not affected by psychic powers manifested by enemy units. Probably going to be situational for chaos players trying to buff their units up. Recitation of Projection. Again, this is core units and Grey Knight characters within 6 inches of the priest. Until the start of your next command phase, add 6 inches to the range of the character's bolt and psi weapons. Models in that unit are compared with, they're equipped with, if the Tide of Convergence dominant in your army, add 6 to the range of the bolt weapon, of the range of psi weapons. 6 inches to the range of bolt weapons, but only 3 to the range of psi weapons of that model in the unit are equipped with. Note that with the similar bonus covered by the Tide of Convergence, this means the total range of psi weapons will be increased to 9 inches. So basically, you are 6 plus 6, 6 inches for bolt weapons and 3 inches for psi weapons, which is not bad. And we'll come to the Convergence guys pretty soon. So I've got a few messages that were held in review there in the chat. Just going to approve all these if you don't mind, guys. And then Invocation of Focus. The Litany is inspiring Grey Knight units, in characters, characters and cores. Basically, you can add 1 to your psychic test with your priest if you are blessed. So sorry, my apologies, and I'll apologize again to Mikolaj. The Litanies are different. I read online they were the same. I was completely wrong. So I'm glad we went back to these Litanies. Some really nice ways to buff your units and get yourself some crazy power, guys. So yeah. Right, let's go back to the Tides. Because I've had enough people complain we want to do Tides, so let's do some Tides. And I'm going to take a drink of water. All right, Masters of the Warp. So, if every if every unit in your army has a grenade's keyword, excluding agents and unaligned units, then Psyker units with this ability will gain the bonuses below, depending on which type is dormant. Now, the start of first battle round, choose which tide is currently dominant. Dominant. And the dominant tide can subsequently be changed by using the warp shaping psychic power each psychic phase. So, let's have a look at the tides. Tide of Convergence. So it is add 6 to the range, which we've kind of just hinted on in Litanies there, of characteristic of psi weapons. So 6 inches to your psi weapons, which is really, really nice for your silencers and psi cannons. Each time this model and the unit makes a melee attack with a nemesis weapon, any unmodified wound roll to 6, that target suffers 1 mortal wound in addition to the damage. Really good. Not going to complain. Tide of Celerity. Now, this is the one I was saying works really, really well with your First of the Fray Warlord trait. So your First of the Fray, you're dropping in, you're getting +1 to your charge rolls. Make sure Tide of Celerity is active, because Tide of Celerity, each time an advance roll is made, or charge roll, you will always treat rolls of 1 and 2 as a 3. Let me just recap that, how mental that is, guys. Tide of Celerity makes all your advance rolls and charge rolls of 1s and 2s 3s. With the First of the Fray +1 to charge, guys, you're gonna get in there and smash stuff up with a Dread Knight Warlord. And you're probably not gonna fill your charge. Well, you might fill your charges, but it's unlikely with that crazy buff, guys. Tide of Celerity is top notch. That is absolutely brilliant. Tide of Shadows. It's okay. While this tide is dormant in your army, each time a range attack that's more than 12 inches away from your unit, you will receive the benefit of light cover. If every unit is already receiving the benefit of light cover, we're treated as receiving dense cover. So essentially, your light cover, I believe, is +1 to your armor, and dense cover, I believe, is -1 to hit. Correct me if I'm wrong there, guys, in the chat section, but still, it's all right. But guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be probably in your face. If I'm 12 inches away and staying 12 inches away, I'm playing my Grey Knights wrong. I want to be up in your face, smacking you with Tide of Celerity, and smacking you with all those demon weapons. Oh, Die Hardif, thank you very much for the super chat. Very, very nice. We don't ask for donations on our live streams, but thank you very much. Goes much appreciated. Thanks so much for covering this book in depth. I know what a challenge it can be to speak consistently for so long. Thank you, man. I've almost gone through a pint of water, but I had to cover each and individual bit. I wanted to make sure we had a real good chat with my fellow Grey Knight players out there, guys. So yeah, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Big shout out there to Die Hard FF. Jan, the first tide with falchions, that can be a lot of mortals. Yeah, it can be a lot of mortals. Falchions, you're going to get all those attacks. I just wish I had more falchions in my army, but yeah. It does help to avoid Alpha Strike turn 1 with Tide of Shadows. It's going to help, definitely. But yeah, good point to raise there. Tide of Escalation. So while this tide is dominant in your army, if you're in your psychic phase, if your army includes the Brotherhood of Psykers detachments, each time this unit is selected to manifest a psychic power, it can attempt to manifest its Brotherhood psychic power, which obviously comes from the Brotherhood tables we discussed earlier. Even if that power has already been attempted to be manifested by another unit that phase. So there's another way, guy, to multicast your Brotherhood powers. Let me just recap that. It can attempt to manifest its Brotherhood psychic power even if that power has already been attempted to be manifested by another unit that phase. So there we go. We have another multicast ability with Tide of Escalation. And also you will add 1 to the powers of warp charges. Obviously when you're multicasting it, whether it was successful or not. Tide of Escalation is not bad, guys. Not going to complain. If you're really into your Brotherhood psychic powers, then yeah, go for it. Tide of Banishment. So this will give you an aura ability. The unit will gain the Banishment aura ability, which is while demon units within 6 inches will subtract 2 from their leadership of models in the enemy unit. And each time enemy model with the demon keyword, that is, makes an attack. I make an attack against a demon unit, We can reroll hit rolls of 1 and reroll wind rolls of 1. Again, Tide of Banishment's only going to be used situationally, but it's not bad to have, guys. Not bad to have. And I can see in the chat already, definitely Mortal Wound spam is on its way in full effect for Grey Knights. Mortal Wound spam's on its way. Right. We got here, guys. We've got, finally, to the units. Pause for a second. So I can have some water. A lot of stuff has been discussed there, guys. A lot of stuff. So far, before I go into the units, my thoughts on the actual rules, the stratagems, the relics, the warlord traits, the tides. Absolutely beautiful. The multicast Santic powers. This codex is beautiful. I still don't believe it's top tier because Grey Knights are still missing some key units, which basically stand and shoot units. That they've always lacked, but that's fine because that's not how Grey Knights should be played. They're up there as a top army, just not the best army in my opinion. But yeah, guys, so far the special rules, let me know what you think. Anything in particular you've loved hearing about so far. I love this book. It's a really well done Grey Knight Codex as far as I'm aware. Really, yeah. 11 out of 10, so happy, Cameron. I can't agree more. I'm about 10 out of 10. Loving it. For what I want from Grey Knights, I'm getting it. Let's actually go into some of the units, if you don't mind. My favourite, Big Daddy Drago. Still in the warp, just sniffing warp dust all day long. Kaldor Drago, guys. Movement 5, weapon skill, ballistic skill 2, strength and toughness 4, wound 7, attack 6, leadership 9, 2 up armor. His Titan sword is +4, so makes him strength 8, -4 and 3 damage. He still has his 3 up invul save, guys. So Big Daddy Drago is still kicking about with a 3 up invul. Not going to complain. And I will try and refer to the points. He's obviously got his rights of battle, and he's also got his Grandmaster. Grandmaster's Chapter Master rule in this codex. Choose a unit character, himself if he wants, a core unit, and they get to reroll all hit rolls. He knows 2 powers and can deny 2 powers. How much points is Big Daddy Drago? Why can't I see named characters? Oh no. Oh yeah. Cause it's up here. Drago's coming out, guys, at 180 points. 180 points. I think that's a really good value for what you get. Decent amount of wounds, great survivability, great damage dealer. Yeah, Drago is pretty good. His range attack, guys, sorry, it's a mastercrafted Stormbolter. Strength 4, -1, 2 damage, rapid fire 2 for his mastercrafted Stormbolter. Grandmaster Valdis, one of our go-to big boys. Grandmaster Valdis, I'll come to his points in a second actually. Movement 5, 2 up to hit, 2 up to shoot, 4 up with 4 wounds, 4 strength, 4 toughness, 4 strength, 6 wounds, 6 attacks, leadership 9, 2 up armor save. Again, pretty solid. He's got the same Stormbolter as Drago, strength 4, -1, 2 damage. His Malleus Agrium Thunderhammer is maybe not as good as the Chrysalix Relics. It's up to you to decide, but it doesn't have -1 to hit, so he's hitting full weapon skill. ×2 strength for strength 8, -3, 3 damage. So not bad for a Thunderhammer. Not going to complain. He is 4 up invul off the bat, and he has rights of battle. 2 psychic powers he can cast, and he can attempt to deny 2, but he knows 3 powers. I should mention Drago also knows 3 powers. Grandmaster Valdis, what is his points coming in at, guys? Grandmaster Valdis, come on, give me the points page. Grandmaster Valdis is coming in at 150 points. Is that an auto take, guys? 150 points for Grandmaster Valdis. Let me know what you think. Is he better to take than Drago? I don't know. Your Grandmaster is stat line of 5 movement, 2 up weapon skill, 2 up ballistic skill, strength and toughness 4, wound 6, attack 6. Good amount of attacks for a Grandmaster. Leadership 9, 2 up armor, Standard loadout is coming with a halberd and a mastercrafted stormbolter. Stormbolter is the same, strength 4, -1, 2 damage. Nemesis Force halberd. This was slightly changed this edition, so now you're getting your sort of first look at it. And yes, I just seen the comment there. There is nerf onto the denies for Voldus. Yeah, no like +1 to casting or +1 to denies for Voldus. He has 150 points, so is it worth it? Not really too sure. And Ross, I can't put a bit marker down because I don't have a bit marker to hand. Grandmaster Voldus, Grandmaster, the Nemesis Halberd. So how's the Nemesis Halberd changed? Well, the Nemesis Halberd is +2 strength, -2 and 2 damage. I think that's a great stat line for Nemesis Halberd, guys. I really like that. It can replace its halberd with obviously one of its melee weapons, so that's looking at your falchions, your hammer, your sword. And it can obviously replace its mastercrafted stormbolter with special weapons, you know, your psi weapon sort of range there. 4-up invul as standard with the iron halo. Teleportation strike, because Grandmaster basically is a Terminator off the bat, and rites of battle. Can manifest 1 power and deny 1 power. Don't know if that's good or bad, guys. So manifest 1, deny 1, and nose 2. Manifest 1, deny 1, and nose 2. And Ross is clearly grilling me just now, so I'm going to put a marker down now. There we go. Try to do this with an extra hand. What is your Grandmaster coming out at? Your Grandmaster is coming out at 135 points. That could be considered dear in comparison to a lot of Primaris captains, especially the Gravis guy. But I don't know, it's not bad. He's definitely had a nerf though in the casting. Definitely had a wee nerf in the casting. Lightning Claw rules for falchions. We'll come on to falchions. Is Smite just still 1 mortal wound? That is a great question, Alexander. That is a great question. I'm actually going to just pause for a second. Is Smite 1 mortal wound? Alexander Friend coming in to ask that. You may have noticed that none of us have spoke about Smite being 1 mortal wound. The reason being because Smite's just Smite now. It's just Smite. There's nothing that said it's anything better or any worse. The only Smite that's changed is a Purifying Flame Smite, which is on the Purifiers. That obviously has its own dictation of how many wounds it can cause. But yeah, Smite it's just Smite, which I think is great. We're not allowed to multicast it though, because it's not a Santic power. But yeah, it's just Smite. Let's come on to probably my favourite unit in the whole codex, the Grandmaster and Nemesis Dread Knight. If I could spam nothing but Dread Knights on my list, this is what I do. So what do we have? So a Grandmaster and Nemesis Dread Knight. I'm just going to do its top tier stat, guys. Movement 9 inches, which I think's gone up by 1 from 8. Weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2. Strength and toughness 6, so that hasn't changed. Wounds 13. Or you can multicast Smite by default. Can you? I wonder if you can. I think you can. Can you in the core rules? I actually can't remember. I rarely cast Smite these days. If you can multicast Smite, then excellent. There you go. You can do it. But all we know is Smite's definitely just the same now. It's no one damage anymore. 13 wounds for the Dread Knight, guys, which has gone up by a wound. Absolutely fantastic. Attack 6 is gone up by an attack as well. Absolutely brilliant. Charlie, thank you for clarifying that. So yeah, multicast and Smite as well then. Absolutely brilliant. I just really do it. And 2-up armor save. Already a phenomenal stat line, guys, for Nemesis Dread Knight. Absolutely phenomenal. It can have the full plethora of armaments for Grey Knights. I'm already showing you it, so I might as well discuss them. Spoiler alert for when we talk about some weapons, guys. Gatling Silencer has changed the heavy one for Dread Knights. It's now heavy 12, 24 inches, strength 5, -1 damage, but still a lot of shots. Heavy Incinerators changed. It's 12 inches, heavy 2d6, strength 6, -1 damage. Automatically hit. I think it was 2 damage before and d6 shots. It's now 2d6 shots and lots of shots. Heavy Psi Cannon is heavy 6. Strength 8, -2 damage, which is not bad. That is absolutely amazing. Definitely going to be putting Psy Cannons in my list now. Dreadfist is ×2 strength, so you're going to be strength 12, -3, 2 damage. Nemesis Demon Greathammer is ×2 strength, so strength 12, -4, D3 plus 3 damage, and -1 to hits. Not bad. But this is the favourite one. The Nemesis Greatsword. You have 2 profiles now. So in its first profile, you have Mighty Strike, which is going to be strength 10, -3, D6 damage. Pretty solid. Sweeping Blow, which is going to give you a total of 2 additional attacks. So for a Grandmaster, you're going to get 12 attacks rather than 6. Strength is user, but -2 and 2 damage, guys. -2 and 2 damage. You are going to walk up to Primaris units and throw them off the table. That is brilliant. You can obviously choose to give a teleporter, to your Dread Knight, as always. 4-up invul off the bat, because Dread Knights now have 4-up invuls. They don't come with 5-up. They always have 4-ups. The Nemesis Demon Hammer feels like a bit overkill. It is a bit overkill, but the Greatsword is just brilliant. You'd always take the Greatsword. It's got way more usability. Rites of Battle as well. Again, slight nerf on the casting. It can cast 1, no 1, and it can no 2 powers, 2 psychic powers from the Dominus Discipline. Which, yeah, sure, it's all right, but the only being able to cast 1 is a bit poor, guys, for Grandmasters. Castellan Crow. I think we definitely need to have a chat about this guy. Castellan Crow. Oh, Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight. How many points is it? Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight. Here we go. 150 points. 150 points for a Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight. Same points as Voldus without any upgrades. Interesting. Very interesting what they're choosing to do there. Right, Castellan Crow, guys. So, right. You've seen a lot of this already in Warhammer community, but I'm going to talk about how I absolutely love this guy. Movement 6, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2, strength and toughness 4, wounds 5, attack 6, leadership 8, 2+, save. And I'm going to point this just now. He is not Primaris. Let's just end that rumour and end that debate. He does not have the Primaris keyword. He is not a Primaris model. There is no Primaris in this codex. It is not there. He has a Storm Bolter, not mastercrafted, just a basic Storm Bolter. So strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. But his blade, now if you all remember, Castellan Crow's blade before was a bit weak. It just didn't do much. Well, the Black Blade of Antwer has awoken. It has +1 strength, bringing you to strength 5, which is really, really good. -3 AP and 2 damage. It also, any unmodified wound roll of a 6 is D3 damage, mortal wound, in addition to the damage. Absolutely love it. Now, if you remember, he has a Hammer of Righteous Warlord trait. So he is +1 to all of his wound rolls, and he is going to be strength 5. So that's pretty good for killing troops. So guys, so it says all the points are already in the chapter proof update prior to the FAQ. So they released the Grey Knight points early. Thanks, Charlie, for letting me know that. That's terrible of them to do that, but fair enough, man. Fair enough. So get back on to Hammer Righteousness. So you're going to get to add 1 to your wound rolls. But additionally, you Hammerhand Crow. Hammerhand him. He's going to be +1 to all his wound rolls through to his Warlord trait, and he's going to be re-rolling all wounds. With the re-rolling all wounds with unmodified wound roll of 6, you might get an extra couple of mortal wounds in there in addition to the damage he's already dealing out. I actually really like that. Nice combo with Castellan Crow, man. I quite like that. What does he have? He also has Heroic Sacrifice. Basic Heroic Sacrifice. He always gets to fight even if he's destroyed. So if he gets killed, he'll get to do all his attacks. It can fight after making models. Unit has finished making attacks. That's fine. So yeah. He'll always get to fight, basically. He's always going to get a round of attacks. I don't see why he can't be hammer-handed. Yeah, he can be hammer-handed. Cameron can be hammer-hand. I'm just going to double-check. Let me double-check for you, but I'm sure he can be hammer-handed here. Yeah, it does. That's in. Well, he must know Hammerhand because he knows Purifying Flame. So can he be hammer-handed? Let me go back to him for a second. Maybe he can't. You could hammer-hand him, though, from someone else. But yeah, you could find a way to hammer-hand him, but it's a nice combination to have. Just someone needs to have hammer-hand, and then you cast it on him, and then away you go. Because he just has to be a Grey Knight Psyker to be chosen as a target of it, which is pretty good. And yes, Charlie, he comes in at 90 points, which is absolutely fantastic. 90 points for this damage dealing guy. And yeah, you can use the strat to swap out powers as discussed earlier. So there's ways we can get a hammer hand on Crow if this is the way you're going down. He has a 4-up invul as well, in addition to his 2-up armor save. As you know, he can attempt to cast Purifying Flame, but he will add 1 to his attempts to cast Purifying Flame, which is pretty good. Martial Superiority. He always fights first. When he's in engagement range of a character, he will always fight first. So yeah, he's a great dueling character. He goes up against a Demon Prince. He's going to fight first. Even if he got charged, he is going to fight first. I'll go back to Hammerhand because that's an interesting one, Jan, that we've just raised. We need to double check Hammerhand again. Honor of Death, which is basically his heroic intervention is increased, basically. That's really all you need to know there. He can know 1 psychic power, deny 1 psychic power. He obviously knows Smite, which is his Purifying Flame, and he knows that in addition to his Dominus power. So, yeah, so his Purifying Flame he's basically getting for free, guys. That doesn't take up his psychic power that he knows. Yeah, his low leadership of 8, which is a bit laughable. That might get errated. I think you'll actually see that change a little bit, guys. But Castle and Crow, not bad. That's all the name characters. They're not bad. 90 points for Crow. Can't really complain. I'm really not going to complain about that at all. Right, so let's go back, pause for a second. So we want to go back and clarify the Hammerhand, guys. That's what we want to do. We wanted to clarify the Hammerhand because we know he can't take the Scientific ability. Right, okay, so here we go. Yeah, so we just checked there. So great spot there, Jan. So Hammerhand is only going to impact himself. So we'll need to do a bit of research to see if there's a way that we can get that Hammerhand onto, well, obviously the person that we know, Mr. Crow, because we really, really want that. But yeah. Not bad, not bad. We'll come back to that. Right. His leadership is laughable. Captain Stern, I just want to cover off the final named characters, if you don't mind, guys. Captain Stern. Captain Stern, let's just quickly check how much is his points coming in as. Brotherhood Captain Stern is 120 points. You can let me know in the chat if you think this character is worth it or not for 120 points. I'm actually completely on the fence, especially after just seeing Crow for 90. But let's have a wee chat here. Captain Stern is Weapon Skill 2, Ballistic Skill 2, Movement 5, Strength and Toughness 4, Wound 6, Attack 6, Leadership 9, 2-up saving throw. He has a Mastercrafted Stormbolter, which we've touched on already. He has Nemesis Force Sword, which is +1 strength, -3, 2 damage. So all our force weapons are pretty neat. We then have Strands of Fate, which is basically his unique rule, guys. So Strands of Fate. In your army, you can roll one. You can reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, or saving throw for this model. A turn, that is, sorry. If you do so, in the next turn, your opponent can reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, or saving throw for a model in their army. So you can do it, and they vice versa get to do it. I don't know if that's worth it. And again, I'm paying 120 points for this guy. Don't know if it's worth it. 4-up invul, yeah, it's pretty good. Tactical Precision, he gets to reroll wind rolls of 1 for Ward Maker units, because he is the leader of Ward Makers. So reroll wind rolls of 1, not bad. And Zone of Banishment, all enemy demons, if this model successfully manifests a psychic power, each demon unit within 6 inches suffers 1 mortal wound. His special rules are a bit meh. Let me know if I'm wrong there. I just don't think he's worth it. Stern hasn't really been worth it for a while. He's in a lot of the lore, but tabletop wise, he's just not doing it, guys. He's not there for me. he knows he can cast, again, 1 psychic power, attempt to deny 1, and he knows 1 power from Dominus. So, interestingly enough, guys, we're actually seeing earlier on there was a comment someone made about smites being debuffed. Were they debuffed? And the answer was no. We can still do our smites. However, with smites being back to normal sort of for Grey Knights, I'm kind of noting we're having a debuff of how many powers we can spam. Maybe that was the trade-off, guys. Sort smite back out to normal, reduce how many powers we can cast. Just thinking. Let me know what you think about that there. We then have our Brotherhood Captain. Brotherhood Captain stat line is movement 5, weapon skill, ballistic skill 2, strength and toughness 4, wounds 6, attacks 5, leadership 9, 2 up armor save. Mastercraft is Stormbolter and Nemesis Force Sword. Again, you can kit out your units usually with the weapon section and the gun section, so side cannons, hammers, falchions, halberds, that sort of thing. 4 up invul save, and the Brotherhood Captain will reroll wounds of 1 for Brotherhood core units within its Brotherhood. So again, reroll wounds of 1, not bad. Again, 1 power to attempt, 1 power to deny, and knows 1 power. Brotherhood Champion, which is basically a crow, basically. Brotherhood Champion, your Brotherhood Captain, I should also point out, Brotherhood Captain is coming in at 110 points. 110 points for Brotherhood Captain. Brotherhood Champion is movement 6, weapon skill, ballistic skill 2, strength and toughness is 4, attacks 5, leadership 8. So obviously champions are 8 and captains are leadership 9. Save 2+. Stormbolter is normal. Force Sword is normal. Iron Halo. It has martial superiority. So again, all Brotherhood champions will always fight first against characters in engagement range. And it has Honor of Death, so a better heroic intervention, basically. However, it doesn't have... So I believe Brotherhood champions previously in the last edition had something similar to if you die, you still get to fight. Only Crow has that. Your actual normal champions do not have that. Brotherhood Librarian. Your Brotherhood Champion is also coming out at 70 points a model. Not bad. Not bad. Cheap HQ. Brotherhood Librarian is going to be movement 5, weapon skill, ballistic skill is 3, strength and toughness 4, wounds 5, attacks 4, leadership 9, 2+ strength, 2+ armor save. I always love taking Librarians from my Grey Knights, so I'm quite happy with the stat line. Seems pretty good. Warding Stave is +3 strength, -1 AP, 2 damage now. Additional, obviously, to the other rules that Warding Staves have. But it has a 5-up invul save, so basically your Crux Terminatus. And Psychic Hood, which you can, each time I deny, you'll get +1 to your deny the tests within 12 inches of enemy psychers. So you've got a wee bit of a deny buff. Can manifest 2 powers and deny 1 power. So it can manifest 2, a Librarian, deny 1, and it knows Smite and 2 additional powers from either Dominus or Sanctus. So he can get access to those multicasters. Brotherhood Tech Marine. So a few comments have been put on hold. I'm just going to show them all. Did they nerf the Librarian's ballistic skill and weapon skill? Did they do that? I think they might have. I think one of them was nerfed. I don't think it was +2 for hits and for combat and shooting, but I think it was 3+ for one and 2+ for another. But either way, it's now 3+ for both. Librarian, guys, is coming in at 105 points. 105 points for Brotherhood Librarian. Might be a bit expensive, but we'll see. It's not a bad unit. Not a bad unit. Brotherhood Tech Marine is... Do I really need to go through this? Okay, well, we'll touch the Tech Marine, because we never really do Tech Marines, guys, do we? He used to be 2+2+ for Librarian. Good to know. Well, he's been nerfed in. That's a shame. That's disappointing. Tech Marine is movement 6, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 2, strength and toughness and wounds and attacks 4, leadership 8, 2+. It's got all the usual loadout your normal Tech Marine has from the Space Marine Codex, so no change there. Blessing of the Omnissiah rule hasn't changed, except for it's only for Grey Knight keyword units. Awakening of the Machine Spirit hasn't changed, but again, it's only for Grey Knight units. Now, it is a Psyker, and it can manifest 1 psychic power and deny 1 psychic power, and it knows from the Dominus. So there's a slight change. It is a Psyker. Brotherhood Chaplain. The Tech Marine, we are coming in at a value of 80 points for the Tech Marine. Alright, okay, cool. Right. Brotherhood Chaplain, movement 5, it is weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 3, strength and toughness 4, wounds 5, attacks 4, leadership 9, and 2 up armor save. It has a Crozius Arcanum, which is going to be +2 strength, -1 IP, and 2 damage for combat, and a standard rapid firing Stormbolter. Spirit's Leader Aura. Friendly Grey Knight core units within 6 inches of this model can use this model's leadership, and it comes with a 2-up armor save, invul save with the Rosarius. It can also manifest 1 psychic power and deny 1, and it knows 1 psychic power from Dominus. And obviously your Litany rules haven't changed. You know, in your command phase, roll a d6 and a 3-up, you get to cast a Litany of your choice. For Litanies, it knows Litany of Expulsion as standard, and any other Litany, and one other Litany from the Litanies of Purity. And your Terminator Chaplain is coming in at... Brotherhood Chaplains, 110 points, guys. 110 points. I actually really like Chaplains for Imperial Fists, so I'll probably start using them for our Grey Knights. So yeah. Why are Terminators and Paladins so expensive when they're no longer as tough as they used to be? Well, let's maybe move on to that, Harry Wang. Let's have a look. Brotherhood Terminators. So to answer the question on points, a Brotherhood Terminator straight away comes in at 42 points a model. 42 points a model. But if you look at the stat line, I'm actually going to agree that I think 42 points a model is actually fair. When you look at the price of new Terminators across Death Guard, Space Marines, and across Thousand Suns, 40 points seems to be a decent price for them. Can he still only cast 1 Litany? Yes, he can still only recite 1 Litany. And he can still only recite 1 Litany. He just knows the Litany of Expulsion and 1 additional one from Purity. But yeah. So here we go. What's the stat line? So 42 points, their movement 5, weapon skill, ballistic skill 3, strength and toughness 4, wounds 3, so they've got the new wounds buff, attacks 3, so that's your built-in shock assault, but it's constant. Leadership 7, attacks 2. Change to the Justicar is a Justicar will gain 1 additional attack, so he's attacks 4, and he'll gain 1 additional leadership. So a squad of 10 Terminators, you know, you are doing what, 27, 31 attacks? That's not bad. And you've already seen previously with some of the stratagems, Brotherhood rules, and psychic powers, there is many ways to buff your attacks, make them more efficient, and gain more attacks. I think there's a reason why these are actually pretty good. Is Terminators go, and you think of the weaponry that they have, guys. A Nemesis Force Sword is 2 damage. You're basically getting mastercrafted swords. Nemesis Halberd is 2 damage. Your hammers are 3 damage. Basically, these Terminators are going to spam out tons of attacks at basically high damage rates, with lots of ways to improve the hit rolls, wound rolls, and rerolls we've just previously spoken about. A 10 blob Terminator squad is, if it gets into combat with something, even if it gets into combat with a Primarch or a Knight, just take off the model, guys. Just take off the model. It's gone. There is no point. And guys, yes, you can hammerhand this unit because it can take Sanctic as well. I can see some of them talking about that. So you can take all the attacks in the world. You can get all the reroll wounds in the world, all the reroll wound rolls of 1 in the world, improving wound rolls as well. You can make a 10 kill man team of Terminators just walk through armies. 42 points is expensive, but it feels right, guys. They can be combat squadded as well, and they have a 5-up invul as standard, but why not sanctuary them and just give them, you know, a 4-up invul that turn, your 10-man squad. And then if you want, you know, give them true silver armor from the Santic discipline. Make them a 1-up armor Terminator with a 4-up invul. That's pretty scary. Absolutely scary. So they can be damage dealers and tankers. They know 1 psychic power, can deny 1 psychic power. They know smite and hammerhand from the Santic discipline, as we previously just mentioned. So they're going to be hammerhanding themselves. Obviously, the true silver armor, I think you're going to have to find ways to chuck that on there, such as swap a psychic power out stratagem, which we did talk about earlier, or do additional power from that table sort of stratagem. So there's ways that you can do that, but my god, Terminators, 10 Terminators is going to smack them, and I'm going to kit all mine out. 8 halberds, 2 hammers, and 2 psi cannons. That's how I plan to run my 10 Terminators and my 10 Paladins. Let me know, you guys, if that's how you'd run them, if you do them something similar. I love the halberds. I love 2 hammers for those high wind models, and I love 2 psi cannons, and then all the Stormbolters, which I'm going to be Cybo ammunitioning. Yeah, that's a beautiful unit. Absolutely beautiful unit. And yeah, Gate of Infinity as well. There's lots of ways to make these scary. Strike team guys have got movement 6, weapon skill, bliss skill 3, strength and toughness 4, wounds 2, so they've got the extra wound, attacks 3, leadership 7, Justicar is just 1 extra attack for 4 attacks, and leadership 8. Guys, let's not squaff at strike teams here. Oh my word, let's not squaff at strike teams. Strike teams are going to be nearly as deadly as Terminators. Yeah, they're not as survivable, but these strike teams are dangerous. You find a way to give them true silver armor for 2 up armor saves, give them sanctuary. You can make them nearly as survivable as Terminators. A strike team is scary. Lots of attacks, decent amount of wounds. They also know 1 psychic power, can deny 1 psychic power. They know smite and hammerhand. You can change the weaponry out to halberds if you really want to get rid of those swords. My word, they are absolutely beautiful. Strike team, what have we got with the strike team, guys, for troop choices? They are 22 points a model for strike team. 22 points a model. Again, I think that's a fair price. I think that's an absolute fair price. Strike teams are absolutely filthy if you want to go strike team heavy army. Terminators are absolutely filthy if you want to go Terminator heavy. We can't be complaining about these units, guys. We really cannot be complaining. These are absolutely brilliant. And yeah, Jan, falchions, really, it's really only +1 attack for falchions, Jan. That's really all we kind of have there. Falchions, if you just want to give your Terminators and Grey Knights 4 attacks and 5 for your Justicar, really, is the way you're going to be doing falchions, mate. But because it's a nemesis weapon, there are ways to improve it through like the stratagems and tides and stuff like that. I think one of the tides will give your nemesis weaponry additional damage, so you can basically damage 2 of your falchions, Jan, which is pretty good. But strike teams, very impressed with. Brotherhood Apothecary is movement 5, weapon skill, bliss skill 3, strength and toughness 4, wounds 5, attacks 5, leadership 8, 2+ for its armor save. It has a force sword, which we already know. It is 5 up invul. Combat restoratives. End of your movement phase, you can heal a Grey Knight infantry model within 3 inches. Either model regains D3 lost wounds, can only be healed once. Narthecium as well, roll a D6 for any Grey Knight units infantry that are within 3 inches of this model. They will ignore the wound on a 6 up. So I'm probably also going to stack Apothecary with my Terminators. I'm probably going to stack him with my Terminators. So my Terminators are ignoring mortal wounds on a 5 up, heavy armor save, heavy invul save, decent amount of wounds, can recover some wounds, and I can ignore wounds on a 6 up. Apothecary is, yeah, I'd probably take an Apothecary here, guys. Let me know if you like this guy, but I quite like the Apothecary. Can cast 1, deny 1, and knows a power from Dominus. So not bad. Brotherhood Ancient is another one I'm probably going to be taking. Well, how much is the Apothecary, guys? The Apothecary, we are sticking about at 100 points for the Apothecary, guys. 100 points for the Apothecary and 100 points for the Brotherhood Ancient. So yeah, these two, 100 points each. I still like them. The Ancient is movement 5, weapon skill, bliss skill 3, strength and toughness, and attacks, I'll just say, is 4. Wounds 5, leadership 8, 2+ for the armor save. Comes with Nemesis Falchions, which is straight away, and they can't be replaced. So that runs with Falchions, which is basically your Ancient's going to get an additional attack. Falchions profile, we haven't spoke about that. Falchions profile is user damage, -2, 1 damage, but additional attack. So not bad. But why you take an Ancient? You don't take it for that. You take it for its goddamn Sacred Banner. Ancient also has a 5-up invul because it's Terminator. But Sacred Banner, Brotherhood core units within 6 inches of this model add 1 to leadership characteristic of models in that unit. In addition, while friendly Brotherhood core infantry units within 6 inches add 1 to their attacks characteristics. Okay, so yeah, I can see some of the comments, guys. There are nothing that experience is the heading on purpose. Right, okay. Guys, we went over litanies briefly. I will do that at the end. I'll recap litanies again for those who missed it, guys. All right. I'll come back to it because we thought they looked, well, I thought they looked like Space Marine ones. We were wrong. They looked like Grey Knights, so we will go back though. We'll go back to litanies again. So for those who are asking, please don't worry. Stay with me. We will go back to litanies. But back on the Sacred Banner, guys, can we just take that in? Another additional attack for your infantry units. So you've got ways now to make your Terminators. I think you can make a standard Terminator 5 attacks and your Justicar 6 attacks. You're really getting close to that 50 attacks per unit, a Terminator unit, and same for Strike Team. It's getting crazy now. Yeah, you want to add in Falchions. Falchions is Falchions Yan, as it says, grants an extra attack, so you want to do that as well. There's a lot of crazy stuff. Lot of crazy stuff in here. Again, can cast 1 power, deny 1 power, and knows 1 from Dominus. And it comes at 100 points. Right, now we're coming into the meat and bones. Paladins, baby. I think a lot of you want to know about Paladins. Well, here we go. Let's quickly recap the points of Paladins, because that's what's going to define if this is a take. So a Paladin... Right, a Paladin, brace yourself, guys. Breathe heavily. A Paladin is 47 points a model. But if I'm doing Paladins, I'm always going to take 10. A Paladin is 47 points a model. Why are they so expensive, right? Movement 5, Weapon Skill 2, solid. Ballistic Skill 3, Strength Toughness 4, Wounds 3, but they have an attack profile of basic of 4, Leadership 8. Your Justicar's getting attacks 5, Leadership 9. So your 4 attacks a Paladin, 5 attacks for the Justicar. An additional, and only 1 Litany is cast on a 3 yet. Jeremy, just to recap, Litanies are still cast on a 3 in the command phase, and you can only choose 1. That's correct. You can get so many attacks with that banner, because they have the infantry core keyword, so the Sacred Banner. Lots of extra attacks through stratagems, psychic powers, buffs. Basically, the Paladin squad, you're going to be looking at well over 60, possibly close to 70 attacks. I'm sure there's ways to go even more. Paladins are going to go wild with the number of attacks that they can spam out, and they are super hard with their new Nemesis weaponry. This is a crazy unit, guys. Obviously, you can sanctuary them as well if you want to make them more savable, I guess. But this is where the Paladins are nice, guys. Let me move to the Psychic section. So it can manifest 1 Psychic power. It can attempt to deny 1 Psychic power, but it knows 2 Sanctic powers. It knows 2. Give it Hammer Hand to reroll all wounds on your Paladins. Give it True Silver Armor to make your Paladins 1-up armor saves. And your 2+ weapon skill. Yes, I'll let you point that out. Yes, they're missing OBSEC. But honestly, they've got so many attacks, so much survivability. The weapons they get access to are filthy damage dealers. Paladins, guys, for 47 points a model, I think this is a great unit. This is your Death Star unit for Grey Knights, which always kind of was. We don't need a Primarch, we just need Paladins. These guys are going to rip units apart. And yes, you're totally right, Diarth. Take Hammer Hand, take True Silver Armor, 1 command point, cast the both of them, away you go. You've got 1-up armor Paladins, and you've got reroll all wounding Paladins. These guys are going to be sick. Love them. Absolutely love them. They're just what they needed. Yeah. And yes, Dark Zinch, this is still going because us Grey Knight players, we're having some fun here. All right, we're having some fun here. Purifier Squad. I'm conscious of time, guys, so we'll be wrapping this up soon. Purifier Squad. weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3, movement 6, strength, toughness 4, wounds 2, attacks 3, leadership 8, armor save 3 plus. Difference is your Justicar goes to 4 attacks and your leadership 9. Purifiers are actually really, really good, guys. I really like them, and I'm going to come on to why. They have the Cleansing Flame ability, which you already know, which is their more powerful smite. They also, like Crow, will add 1 to attempting to cast that Psychic test. So you're probably going to get Purifying Flame off quite easily. They know 1 power, can deny 1 power, and they know Smite and Purifying Flame. Basically, Purifiers are just going to go in and blow stuff up with their mind. That's it. They are going to blow stuff up with their mind. It is going to be absolutely beautiful. Decent amount of attacks, decent survivability. One of the stratagems, if you remember, guys, for Purifiers, you can -1 to the damage that Purifiers take. So nice wee combination with some stratagems as well. Purifiers, what are they coming in at? Now, bear in mind, a strike team is 22 points. A Purifier is coming in at 23 points. So you're paying 1 point more for that extra stratagem, which is basically the -1 damage, and extra mind bullets. That's not bad for 1 extra point a model. I'm going to take it. Paladin Ancient. Paladin Ancient is obviously the Terminator variant, but with a massive upgrade. Paladin Ancient is essentially the same stat line as a Paladin, with the exception it gets 5 wounds and it gets 5 attacks off the bat. It is also like the normal Ancient, armored up with falchions and a Stormbolter. It has the Sacred Banner. So obviously the Sacred Banner is add 1 to the leadership of all friendly paladins. And it has the Chapter Banner though. So it also adds +1 to the attack, as well, with the Sacred Banner to other units within 6 inches. But it also has the Chapter Banner, which is all friendly core units within 6 inches of this model until the start of your next command phase. Each time a model makes a melee attack, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. So any of you guys that are trying to debuff those paladins to 3-up a weapon skill, your Paladin Ancient is going to put them back down to +1 to their hit rolls. But that's also for all core units. Remember, Paladin is a core unit. So your Paladin Ancients are going to be a great way to get by that debuff to your hit roll barrier, which I'm not too bad. Is Dark Zinch lol? No, you guys just have a lot more rules to review than our Chaos do. I've had a look at the Thousand Suns Codex, guys. Yes, Grey Knights have way more rules to review in the Thousand Suns Codex. That's one of the Thousand Suns Codex's biggest problems. They need more stuff. I hope Ross said that in his recap. If he didn't, terrible. And yes, a lot of you at the start, before the live stream started. Servitors. I don't know why you want me to talk about these guys. Right, sure, let's talk about them, guys. Oh, how much is a Paladin Ancient? Paladin Ancient is going to be... Paladin Ancient is 110 points, so only 10 more points dearer than the Ancient. I'd take it. Definitely take a Paladin Ancient, guys. Servitors. Right, I don't know why you're asking me to review this, but a Servitor is movement 5, weapon skill, ballistic skill 5, strength and toughness 3, wounds 1, attacks 1, leadership 6, +4 armor save. It can take a heavy bolter, a multi-melta, a plasma cannon, or a servo arm. Am I missing something, guys, here? Is there something about Servitors that makes them amazing and I'm completely missing it? Can one of you put it in the chat if I've missed this? I just don't ever rate them. They have the Mind Lock ability. While this unit is in 6 inches of Grey Knight Tech Marine units, which I'd never take. Models in that unit have weapon ballistic skill characteristic 4+, and leadership characteristics 9. Am I missing something? They're cheap action bolts. Okay, I guess. A Servitor comes in at 4 points a model. So yes, they are cheap, right? I'll give you that. I'm not going to waste my time. If you don't cast a psychic power, you're not part of my Grey Knight army. That's my rule. Yeah, they're cheap. I'm just totally missing something here. But there's your Servitors, guys. So those who are asking for Servitors, I hope you got what you wanted there. Right. Now, I'm conscious of time, guys, so I'm not going to go over every single unit. I'm just going to pick out a couple of key things you need to know, which we already did. Venerable Dreadnought is pretty much the exact same as it's always been, guys, from the Space Marine version. Just bear in mind, though, this unit is also a Psyker, so it knows it can manifest and deny a power, and it knows Armored Resilience from the Santic power. So it doesn't get to choose one, it knows Armor Resilience. Okay, Armor Resilience, so that's your Venerable Dreadnought. Normal Dreadnought, again, is the same as a normal Dreadnought with the exception. Its psychic power, it can manifest one, deny one, and it also knows Armor Resilience from Santic Armor. Okay, key things there for your Dreadnoughts. This is one I will focus a bit more on, the Inceptor Squad. Inceptor Squads are movement 12, weapon skill, bliss skill 3, strength and toughness 4, wounds 2, attack 3, leadership 7. Just a card just upgrades the attacks to 4 and leadership to 8. Armed with 4 swords and storm bolters. Probably going to kit these out with the new incinerators, and I'll come to the incinerator in a minute. Going to kit these out with new incinerators and falchions. I want my Inceptors to jump about, lots of attacks, and I also get lots of flames, so lots of horde killing abilities. Did they get the -1 to wound from attacks? Are you talking about the ignoring wounds and a 6-up for Dreadnoughts? If you're talking about the Dreadnoughts, Charlie, they also subtract 1 damage for being Duty Eternal. If that's what you're referring to, and because Unyielding Ancient, they would normally ignore wounds on a 6-up. That's for the Venerable. And also Duty Eternal is also on the standard Dreadnought, -1 to damage. Let me know, Charlie, if that's what you're double checking. And yes, Charlie, incinerators are 12 inches now. A lot of flame beauty. We're going to purge those heretics. Yeah, they do get the -1 damage. They do get Duty Eternal, and the Venerable gets ignore wounds on a 6 because it's a Venerable. That's still in there as well. Inceptor squads have their personal teleporter, so obviously each time they can essentially do a shunt. Each time a model makes a normal move, advance, or fall back, this unit can be moved across other models and their bases if they were not there. They cannot be moved within engagement range, so nothing has changed there, guys. Just jump troops, basically, but they can also shunt, the shunt stratagem, because they have the teleporter keyword. Yeah, they know 1 psychic power, can deny 1. However, though, they are already predetermined to know the Ethereal Castigation Santic power. The Ethereal Castigation. But I'm just going to kit these guys out with falchions and flamers. To ask a couple of questions, Jan, on falchions. I think, did you ask, can they do single or double? Nemesis falchions, it is just simply a single weapon. It just gives you 1 additional attack. Strength user -2, 1 damage. There's no sort of difference between a single falchion or a pair of falchions. It's just falchions, and it's 1 extra attack. While we're on the topic of weapons, Incinerator, I just want to show you this as well, guys. The Incinerator has had its weapon changed. The Incinerator is it is 12 inches, heavy 6, strength 6, -1, 1 damage, auto hits. So we finally got our 12-inch flamers on our infantry. Really beautiful. Purgation squad. What's an Inceptor come in price-wise? An Inceptor comes in at... Where's your fast attack? 24 points a model for Inceptors, guys. 24 points a model. Let me know if you think that's worth it or not. 24 points a model. Purgation squad. Same stat line, guys, as a strike team, so nothing's changed there. Again, same loadout, full 4 sword and stone bolt. You've got to replace those weapons to get your psi cannons and silencers or incinerators. But it is also a psyker, and it knows 1 power, deny 1, but it automatically knows astral aim, which you'd think would be logical. But let's talk about the weapons that it can get. So it can get a silencer, psi cannon, or an incinerator. So we've just talked about the incinerator. We're not going to go over that one. We are going to go on to the psi cannon next. Sorry, silencer. So silencer has changed. It's heavy 6, 24 inches, strength 4, -4, 1 damage. No longer D3 damage, guys. Silencer has changed. It's basically a horde killer. But what you will be wanting to do is your Psy Cannons. Your Psy Cannon is heavy 3, strength 7, -1, 2 damage. That is pretty solid for your weaponry there that you get on the Purgation Squad. And your Purgation Squad is coming in at 22 points a model for a Purgation Squad. That's good value for money. I like that. I can think of a lot of combinations with the Psy Cannons. Dare I say it, this is probably, I believe, guys, this is going to be the last unit I'm going to talk about, because I'm not going to go over the Storm Raven, Storm Talon, Rhinos, all this stuff. It's the same. I want to talk about the Nemesis Dread Knight. I want to have some fun here, guys. Right, Nemesis Dread Knight. Stat line we know already from the Nemesis Grandmaster. Movement 9, 3+, 3+, ballistic skill, weapon skill, strength and toughness 6, wounds 13, attacks 5, leadership 8, 2+ armor. Absolutely beautiful stat line, guys. I am not going to complain there. That is beautiful. Additionally, it has a 4-up invul as standard. 4 shielding. It is just 4-up invul save. 2-up, 4-up. I cannot complain. And I've got an extra wind and an extra attack. Again, we know from the Grandmaster all the stuff you can take. Gatling Silencer, Heavy Incinerator, Heavy Side Cannon, and all your Dread Fists, and all your additional Great Swords and Hammers. It knows 1 power, can deny 1 power, and it knows the Hammer Hand from the Sanctic Discipline. So this thing is going to be re-rolling wounds, baby. Can I just point out, it is 120 points a model. That is value for money if I've ever seen one. 120 points for this killing machine. Bring a couple of these with their stat line, their weaponry, their capabilities to dish damage and survive. And we've already looked at some of the nice stratagems and psychic powers and tides to combo. You can use Dread Knights to start to bully and hunt down Primarchs off the map. Someone brings Mortarion or I bring Magnus, and they start putting down a couple of multiple Dread Knights that can shunt about the place. I'm going to hunt your Primarchs down with my Dread Knights. These things are absolutely beautiful, guys. Cannot complain. 120 points a model. These are must-takes in my list. Does 4 make you a bad person? Charlie, it doesn't make you a bad person because I own 5. I own 5. I own 4 normal ones and 1 Grandmaster. And yes, Cameron, Hammerhand is carrying this codex. Why not? It's just so beautiful. Think about how many armies would give for the reroll wounding abilities. We can get it relatively quite easily. Get my 4th on the Hexfire set. Looking forward to it, Cameron. Get 5 Dread Knights. I'm running Dread Knight only lists at some point as well. Dread Knights is definitely the way forward. We've still got our Land Raiders. I'm not going to talk about these guys. We've still got our Razorback, Rhino, Stormhawk Interceptor, Storm Talon, and Storm Raven. I don't want to talk about these because we've been on this for nearly 2.5 hours, losing my voice, but also there's, you know, this stuff already. There's not much I need to really go over here. All you need to know as well, you've got a page here with your weapon profile so you can know what's your bolt and psi weapons and nemesis weapons. Yeah, overall, absolutely brilliant. I did promise, guys, I was going to go back to litanies purely because we kind of brushed over that really quickly. I'm glad you got what you needed, Malvatos. Litany again, guys, I'm just going to be very quickly and go over this. The litanies are different. Litany of Expulsion, 6 inches of the Chaplain for core and characters. You can reroll hit rolls with your melee. Words of Power, Grey Knights and characters within 6 inches of the Chaplain, making Nemesis weapon attacks. You will unmodified wound roll of 6, successfully win the target. 1 additional time with the Tides of Convergence. They will also then dish out an additional mortal wound. Entombment of Guidance, again, core and character within 6 inches. You can ignore all ballistic skill modifiers, so really, really nice. Psalm of Purity is improving armor penetration of range weapons by 1 on wound rolls of 6, unmodified. Refrain of Convergence is so select 1 of your units within 6 inches. Select 1 unit within 6 inches of the police. You can stop an enemy unit being impacted by psychic powers, and you can stop. So you can stop a power that an enemy unit is being impacted by, and you can also stop that unit from being impacted by any powers until the next psychic phase. So pretty nice. Recitation of Projection, comes in with Tide of Convergence. Add 6 to the range of bolt weapons and add 3 inches to the range of psi weapons to a maximum of 9 inches for psi weapons if you get Tide of Convergence on. An Invocation of Focus. Add 1 to psychic tests to your psychic tests. So litanies are different. Still getting your litany in the command phase and a 3+. Not going to complain. So guys, that brings a 2.5 hour tour of the Grey Knight Codex, and I just want to say again thank you to all of you who had the patience to stick with me as we went through this codex. I had a lot of fun chatting about it. I think this codex is absolutely brilliant. It's just something that I think going forward, guys, you're going to see this codex maybe get a few changes with the errata, which is understandable. But more importantly, guys, it's a great codex. It's up there. I'm 10 out of 10 happy. Great psychic powers, great units, great upgrades. It's got a tool chest. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. Can't wait to see these in the tabletop. We're probably going to get a Grey Knights versus Thousand Suns or Death Guard battle at some point. We always seem to do that combination when Grey Knights get something new. If you're watching this on a replay, anything you want to ask we've not covered or anything you want to double check, put it in the comment section down below. We'll do our best over the next couple of days to get back to those comments with some answers. Additionally, guys, thank you very much for watching. Check us in the links down below for our social medias if you want to stay up to date with the channel. Thank you for everyone joining us, all your questions. I've had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys for the last 2.5 hours. But thanks very much. We hope to see you again on the next one of our table.